think it's hey, we're only 3 minutes late.
That's
I think
not
it's
bad.
working. I think it's working. Hold on, baby. Come on, baby. You can do it.
There's like
receive my damn preview. There it is.
So weird looking through these photos. It's literally like people just disappeared. There's like bags of snacks on a desk in these photos.
Dude, I'm pretty sure he just like shut the whole operation down.
It's super weird.
Let's welcome everybody to Tech Talk. Now that I think we're officially live, I see a video feed now on the dashboard.
Are we for reals this time? Yeah, we're good. I see it too.
We did it. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so welcome to Tech Talk, guys. The most professional live stream on all of the internet with the best thumbnail game ever.
Episode 255 or something?
This is episode 269. I'm probably keeping it at 69. Hey, huge shout out to Eric G throwing us $5 before we even started the stream. He said, just in case I forgot when the stream actually start. Anyways, I hope you're all doing good and happy Father's Day. Oh yeah, it's Father's Day tomorrow, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Dude, I get celebrated for not pulling out tomorrow. It's like the best holiday of the year. Yeah.
Oh, recycling's on Monday, garbage is on Thursdays. That's nice to know.
And Father's Day's on Sunday.
Upcoming time off, Dave, November 19th, 2021 to November 26th, 2021. Well, I hope Dave had a nice vacation.
Oh, yeah? Is he?
Man, they got a drop saw. Nice, a DeWalt drop saw. Or,
all right, so
miter
to
saw.
Update everybody because they have no freaking clue what's going on. Auxiliary and I have been talking about Artesian PC. Yeah, so it's one of our topics today. We might as well just move it to the top since we're already talking about it.
Artesian buildings.
Artesian. Well, Artesian's a different word, so it'd be artisan because Artesian is like water, right?
No, it's spelled Artesian. This is Artesian.
Oh yeah. Shit! No, it's okay. I thought a ghost was attacking me. Oh my god! Thank you, honey.
I was like,
oh my god! I'm looking at my screen and I see a reflection of my screen of a hand over my shoulder, and I'm like, ah! She had my coffee.
That's scary, man.
Oh, that woke me up. Holy shit. Oh, that scared me, dude. I was like looking at the screen and I see a hand going like this in the reflection on the screen. Oh man, that freaked me out. Did you guys see the hand in the video?
Not here. Let me rewind a little bit.
That was weird. Oh my god, that scared me. But I got coffee out of it, so I'm fine. So, anyways, back we're talking about Artesian PC, the company that
you don't even see her hand. Just
she like stuck in there. Man, somebody clipped that. Like that was
serious business. That was good.
A jump scare. I had one of those in a while. Heart attack live on stream. So we're talking about Artesian PC, the company that a couple of months ago you guys will probably remember almost trending on Twitter amongst the PC community for being a custom PC builder that was like really up and coming. They were
doing good work.
Yeah, they were kicking ass, honestly. Like quite literally, they had a huge clientele. They had a builder on the West Coast and the East Coast. They were like expanding and they were going pretty good. Mm-hmm. And they decided that during a live stream, because their CEO is an absolute fucking nitwit, he decides to do a giveaway, change the rules of the giveaway in real time after already selecting the winner, and then basically berating the winner, who happens to be a female streamer on Twitch who's a big fan of theirs, berates her and basically says she's not good enough and they're going to draw a different name because they're not going to give PCs away to people unless they help them, unless people use their link a whole lot more.
Yeah. And, like shouting out, like talking bad about her analytics and stuff. Like, oh, let's look at how good she's doing with her affiliate link or whatever. And it's like, had talking about like, oh, no clicks in like 3 months or something, and she hadn't streamed a whole lot in the previous couple months, or just ragging on her.
It was inexcusable, absolutely inexcusable. So then the dude, he could have recovered from this. Honestly, he could have recovered from this, but instead he decides to double down and he makes an apology video. But the apology video is anything but an apology. If anything else, it's like, oh, you pieces of shit, you really bent my arm behind my back. I guess I'm just gonna have to do things the way I don't want to do them and let everybody win the giveaway.
It's bad.
It's really bad. If you watch it, it's like his mannerisms and everything. It's like you can tell that he's basically just having his arm twisted behind his back to do this apology, which then throws gasoline on the fire, and even more of the community comes down on this guy. And then they start doing some digging. They find out like one of his business licenses is expired by a couple of months. Apparently there was like some people inside of the company weren't getting their paychecks. Like he was basically like guilting them into like, oh, until we do this, we can't pay you, blah, blah, blah. There was some bad shit going on at this company. And so anyways, he basically got like, he panicked because of all the bad press. And I guess people were canceling their orders and stuff like that. And so he just pulls the plug. He just pulls the plug and just basically declares bankruptcy, throws his hands in the air, and all the customers that bought PCs and stuff, all their money is gone. He's not returning it. However, right now, what we were talking about right as we started the stream, which is probably really confusing because you didn't have context, is they have an auction going on. And when did you say it was? Like the 20th, right? Or
21st comes up on the
21st of this month. They're having an auction that would liquidate the assets of Artesian builds.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be pretty substantial assets because, you know, they had a customer catalog of like 10,000 customers.
Yeah, like they were doing well. Like,
yeah.
I mean, well, from the outside. Obviously, if they were doing that well, even a big blunder like this would not send a solid company into bankruptcy.
Yeah. Well, here's how I understand it, Ox, is on the West Coast, they were doing like they were the media guys, right?
That was the streaming. Yeah, that was like the streaming side.
But they were
that's
also
where
PCs.
The CEO was and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Noah Katz, that's who it was. That's and right. So the West Coast was the media company, and the East Coast was like the really fine-tuned builder.
Yeah.
But they were also building on the West Coast and the East Coast. Both were builders and distributors. But the problem that they had was apparently the West Coast had a lot of issues, like logistically. Yeah. Whereas the East Coast was ran by like a completely different person, kind of hands off from Noah, and they were doing the volume business. So it was like two little micro companies under one large company.
Yeah,
we're not talking to each other, and it just wasn't working.
It's like the West Coast, the California spot was doing like the influencer builds, client stuff, the bigger client stuff, the flashy things that they were putting online. Where the North Carolina facility was like your regular, what you would call prepay customers, people who just throw their credit card down. There's nothing real. It's like a pre-configured almost, like there's not a lot of craziness going on with those builds from what it looks like, at least. Yeah,
so not as custom, more of just a volume, throw them together and get them out.
Yeah.
So the big issue now is he pulled the plug. It basically sent everybody home, and it was really abrupt too. Like this didn't happen over a long period of time. This was just like we're going out of business. First he tried to sell the company to his employees, which I thought was so funny. He's like, I'm bankrupt. I'm underwater. Hey, you guys that work here that don't get a paycheck, do you want to buy my company?
Well, you know what's weird though is I feel like they may have, if that was a legitimate course of action, I feel like they could have like come together. They could have approached a lender who, or even the bankruptcy court. Like, I don't see why they couldn't have. I don't know exactly how all this works, so I could be, talking out of my ass. But I feel like there could have been a route where the employees could have somehow taken over, either come together and been backed by lenders, or at least have investigated that route a little more thoroughly. Because I feel like I guess they couldn't have been that underwater that they couldn't have come back. I don't know.
I feel like the problem was, though, is even if they did buy the company, the name was already drugged through the mud at that point.
I think they could. You think they could have turned it around, especially if it was an employee-run effort. That the employees took over and kicked Noah out. No more. Look, this is Jim, the production manager. I've been the guy who's been running the floor this whole time. Me and the rest of the crew here have taken over, and we are not going to run this the way Noah did. Could have completely. They could have, because the enthusiast community would have backed the employees. They were behind. Everybody knew it wasn't. It's rarely ever the workers, the grunts, who cause these sorts of problems. Sure. The community would have rallied behind an employee-led effort to recover the company, for sure.
Noah was kind of like the face of the company, though. That's like, if he was like a CEO, like Nintendo CEO, where they're like, "Oh, we didn't meet quarterly profits, fire him," or Steve Ballmer, where they're like, "Nobody likes you, get out." If it was like that, then I think it'd be like a different story. But he made himself the star. He made himself the face. It'd be like, I guess Subway survived Jared, but along the same ways, right? It's like he's the spokesperson for the company.
Yeah, but it's easy enough to cut ties and say, "Hey, whoa, we didn't know about any of this stuff," and to don't support it. Don't try and make excuses. Just say that's whack. Out. Gone.
Actually, you're right. If they did it publicly, I'd be willing to bet that would almost give them a boost, because they'd be like, they did the right thing. They did a shitty thing. They took the CEO, they drop kicked his ass out, and they're going to continue doing the good work they were doing before.
Yeah,
I totally think could have flown.
I think the community would have backed an employee-led takeover of the company.
The thing is, just Noah was not a very smart person. Like Noah was not. He had no business sense. I don't know how the hell he managed to build it to where it was. All I can imagine is that he had good employees in place that made that happen.
Yeah,
because he was just, apparently this wasn't the first time he's been edgy on a stream. It's just, this is where he mega crossed the line.
Yeah.
Like people had said that he's said some kind of fucked up shit on streams before, but the reason why this one hit so hard home is that it was a giveaway. And he was illegally changing the rules and conditions of the giveaway after the person that won the giveaway already met all the requirements. Like right as he drew him, it's like you won the lottery and you go down to the lottery company and they're like, oh, you bought a ticket at that one store we don't like. So we're not going to honor that. Go home. And they tear up your ticket.
There was some rumblings and grumblings about being the SEC or FCC violation. Like you're not allowed to change giveaway rules like that. Like once you have put the rules out, like that's a big deal. Like the feds get involved in that kind of thing. And I don't know if that actually went anywhere, but that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's and if you know wire fraud, that carries a sentence of like 10 to 20 years. Like that is not this. We live in a weird country with weird laws because there's literally some states where if you murder somebody under the right conditions, you go to jail for like 5 years. There's some places in the country where it's like you commit wire fraud, you go to jail for like 20 years.
Jeez, man, it's crazy. These pictures. So I'm scrubbing through the pictures of their lot one, the Burbank, California facility equipment and inventory lot for the California thing, and I'm going through these pictures. It looks jank. So their setup is messy. We'll say that it's messy. I'm scrolling through these photos. I come across this one. It's an invoice. It says right here
on their site, right on Artesian Build's site.
This is their Dropbox where the legal documents are and stuff. But they've got this thing. I don't know if I should say this out loud, but it's public, so I don't know. This isn't like a bad. I'm not breaking any rules. It's right here.
If it's public, you can say it.
You got an invoice here. This is Artesian Builds. Somebody named some address that says James Jackson Avenue, Cary, North Carolina. Blah 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 blah. This is silly. It's Sol System, Milky Way, Virgo, Supercluster, Universe. Haha, cute, whatever. But then it's an invoice for Nick Merck's giveaway. It says gbvisuals1@gmail.com, shipped to Gregory Blackshear at address. I'm not going to say it out loud. That feels uncomfortable.
No, you shouldn't. At that point, we're like
with an invoice date of March 31st, 2022, order date of February 28th, 2022, payment method, blah, blah, blah. This was a sort of giveaway for Nick Merckx. That sounds familiar, some streamer or esports guy. But it's like it's the ship to, I don't know if that is Nick Merckx. I don't know if that's associated with, but there's like public or like what I would consider private information just on this invoice in a picture.
Not only that, they said in the auction details, they said they're selling the customer information,
which that's a standard thing. That's not a weird thing.
No, but what makes it weird in this case is that they like their giveaway PCs and their builds were primarily targeted, like the ones they gave away were to large streamers. So they're basically saying that database to the public, if you buy this database, you're basically going to have all the streamers that have a PC from us that we gave to. You're going to have their address and phone number and everything.
I mean, if this is so again, there's another invoice for another Nick Merckx giveaway with an email address and a ship to address right there. Like I don't know who this Mark Martinez is, but there's his address.
And these are in the legal documents on the Dropbox.
Pictures, wow. It's like the pictures of what you're buying if you bid on this.
Well, if it's a legal bankruptcy, all this stuff has to be made public, right? Like if people bought stuff or you gave stuff out, they need to know the assets of the company. Man, weird, that sucks, dude. Could you I bet you nobody thought when they got a computer from Artesian that their data was going to be sold or put up somewhere.
There's like incomplete builds. There's like I'm looking at like 2 or 3, 4 different builds that are just sitting on benches, like 80% done. Like we're talking, it's like custom. There's like custom sleeved cables. There's GPU monoblock. Like it's almost ready to go. It just needs tubes and fluid.
Wow. And that system's never going to make it to the customer that bought it.
Yeah, no.
Could you imagine dropping like 3, 4, 5 G's on a custom build, and the company just goes bankrupt, and they're like, "Sorry." I mean, I guess you could probably do a chargeback at that point. I don't think anybody paid cash for any of these things.
I would hope not. Like debit status, I'd be bummed.
Yeah, if you bought it on debit or you used like some mechanism or wire transfer to pay for the PC, like you're screwed. Like you're not ever going to see that money again.
You might get a piece if you join in on the list of debtors. You know,
if you know anybody this was the other bullshit too. Did you remember after he already declared that the company was going down, he shut down operations. Their website was still accepting orders for like 2 days.
For a while. Yeah.
I don't know exactly how long it was. I think it could have been up to like a week. But then it finally got shut down.
Yeah, and then on top of that, dude's still running, or was, I haven't checked in on it, but was like selling mining rigs on an Etsy store on the side.
It turns out that Noah Katz was also had a business on Etsy that predated Artesian, where he was still up to that day. It was an active Etsy store with inventory. Like they actually listed like how many were in stock. You could buy them for like crypto mining rigs that had like massive amounts of GPUs. And here's the funny thing about it is he named it like something different.
Mining.
Yeah, he named it something different, hoping that people wouldn't connect it, because during the GPU crisis, he was like talking about like, oh yeah, miners are using up all the GPUs and blah blah. He was trying to like empathize with the gamers and the community, and he was selling racks of GPUs.
No items listed at this time.
Yeah, he did take it down once everybody was like blowing it up. I think I even posted a screenshot of it, and I was like, are you shitting me? Like, you're literally selling rigs with like 8 GPUs in them for crypto mining when you're a boutique builder for like streamers and gamers. Like, you got balls, dude.
Effed up. Yeah, that's messed up. That's not cool.
So the thing is, they should have quite a bit of inventory on hand. Does it give you any inkling in the documentation for the auction, like how many lots they have, or can you get any rough estimate of like how much stuff they have?
So there's 3 lots. One lot is everything from the Burbank, California inventory and equipment.
Everything from the whole location?
That's what there's 200 photos. It's not even like a document of like inventory list. It's just a 200 photo. Like I clicked on the lot. It's so weird. I don't know if this is normally how things go.
They just liquidate. Like, is it him doing this, or is this like a legal party doing this?
This feels very official. This is how
like
they do
it. So here's the like that's not the way to maximize your money.
Here's the link. It says official. It's got the official notices in the top. Oh, inventory lists. Here we go. Okay, so they do actually list it out. I didn't see this as a PDF. So
that just
there's quite a bit.
43.
Here, check this out. Okay. It's right up at the top. Type computer towers, partially built custom towers, varying degrees of completion. 43.
Oh my god!
43 orders were in process, being built, almost done, and they just walked away.
Oh my god! I didn't think it would be that much from just the one location.
That's just like started, and then
that's not the orders. Those are the orders that were already started and being built. There's a ton of orders that were in the queue once those were built and shipped. So
office supplies, there's equipment and materials, there's a laser cutter and engraving machine, table saw, compound miter. Yeah, I guess so. They do have listed. They have stuff listed out.
Yeah, 10 cases. They have a lot of cases.
This is like how an inventory or like an insurance inventory list goes too, because it's like super generic kind of. Like here's a list: small monitors, Asus, Dell, HP.
Yeah, you can tell this wasn't
20.
done by like a computer guy. Like, unbranded plain black CPU. That's like an auditor walking through and just writing shit down, right?
Yeah. What is that? Cases, black 22. It just says other cases, no brand, just cases, black, gray.
Was massive.
Well, I don't know how big of a. I only have like Puget Systems to compare to, so.
Puget
compared to Puget Systems, compared to Puget Systems, this is not a lot.
Yeah, Puget used to be just a couple dudes. Yeah.
Let me just tell you.
No, I'm like scrolling through. I didn't realize that they kept this much inventory on hand. Like, I would have assumed that they would have ordered a lot of this like as needed.
And oftentimes, I mean, I suppose it depends on your space, but I like how Puget does it, where it's a very, very minimal on hand. A lot of it is, it depends on the stuff, I guess. But you work really hard to not keep a lot of stuff just lying around.
Yeah,
because that's waste. That's wasted. Every minute that's sitting there unsold, taking up space, is money, and things change. Every 6 months a new product comes out. You don't want old products sitting on a shelf you haven't sold when people want to buy the new shit. No, that's what I was saying.
Is like to hold this on hand is pretty ballsy. Like, because if that goes out of fashion or a new standard comes out, it's like you just lost all your money.
Coolers and stuff are fine. Cases are fine. But yeah, I mean,
I guess you do have to take into account they were building 48 PCs when they went under. So obviously they have the volume to build 48 PCs at the same time.
They got listed here 4 10900Ks. Wait, somebody didn't do this right.
No, they didn't.
So there's a line item that says 10th gen i9 10900K, and then right underneath it says 12th gen i9 12900K.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
What? They got 4 Ryzen 7 5700Gs. They got 6 i3 10th gen. Sorry.
I think it was just like the legal guys were walking through and just writing stuff down. Like they had a liquidation company just go through, like an auction company go through and just write down everything they saw.
They must, because
they got racks and stuff on here. Like they're selling the racks.
Why would you not just print out your inventory list? Like your entire inventory database. You just print that out.
Do you think they even had an inventory database?
I have one. I have an inventory like list, and I have maybe 4 things in my garage. Like,
look, I don't even know. Half the shit could be gray market, dude. This could be stuff that he imported on the side and he didn't want to pay tax on or something.
Man.
Oh man, this is crazy though, because somebody's gonna get a good deal.
Crazy.
Somebody's gonna get a good deal because
dude, you're gonna get this on pennies.
Yeah,
pennies on the dollar.
Such a bad list that even if you assume the worst, which you have to when it's like this,
yeah,
you're gonna get more than what you're paying for. Like totally. For sure, nobody's gonna bid this like absolutely through the roof.
No.
If I had it, way out of our league.
If I had it, I'd probably start at 10. That's probably where it'll start, is 10 grand. Because there's plenty good stuff in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, geez, they got 10 grand in just cases, cases in inventory.
I mean, yeah, there's some they got 25 Lee & Lee 011 dynamic ATX cases. They got
they seem to have a boner for the Lee & Lee cases.
Yeah, those are weird. I don't like them.
I'm not a big fan.
But
I used to be back in the day though, like back in the 486 days and shit, like all aluminum Lee & Lee when everything else was that pot metal shit. Like that was amazing.
It's crazy.
But now computer cases are like really cool. Hey, I want to thank really quick Roman Lubers. Thank you for that $10 super chat, dude, for coffee time. We appreciate that support. And Eric G, our favorite trucker from another mother. Thank you for the $5 super chat. You guys are awesome. And Mr. Donation also subscribed to the channel.
What?
Great name for a subscriber.
Cool, man.
Mr. Donation.
What's up? That's fun.
So what about the East Coast inventory? Let's take a look at the East Coast inventory.
Scrub through that.
Because they seem like they were the ones that
I
were
was
the volume
excited.
builders. So.
I was excited, man. I had it been more piecemeal, I would have tossed my hat into the ring on this. Holy cow!
Did your thing just disappear?
No, I'm still good.
Page you're looking for not found. Dropbox, they just got deleted.
Oh, I'm still looking at it.
Save it. Save it if you have it on your screen, because that Dropbox just got nuked. I just refreshed. It's an Arrow 404, and the folders were empty, and now it's an Arrow 404.
I'm downloading it.
Yeah, download it.
I'm still looking at it. I hope it lets me.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe that wasn't supposed to be published yet or public, because we're talking about it, and all of a sudden it just went down.
That's funny.
So that's not a coincidence, and it's like actually down. Like,
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys are looking at something on there, like definitely save that. Yeah, it's 404. It's completely gone.
Lucid Enemy says, I just saved it. I have it. It says it's trying. It says your file is downloading. Oh no, Yoshi escaped.
Yeah, no, it's got a dog on the run?
Nah, he's fine. Okay. I think the garage is open or something. People are outside. It's okay.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Lucid says he's uploading it right now. Down. Cool. Wow. What's gone bankrupt? Artesian builds. So that's cool.
Amaranth kicked out her Artesian streaming PC. That's awesome.
Yep, 404. Oh, that's crazy.
Dude,
that's crazy.
That went down while we were talking about it.
Yeah, they may not have been supposed to share that or something. Weird.
Yeah, I think that was that was a no-no, or maybe people clapped back at him and threatened to sue him because of the personal information that was in there that was publicly available, like even before the auction.
I can see that.
Because I'd imagine even if you transferred a customer database, it's still going to be under NDA.
Well, earlier I was poking around in that Dropbox, and so one of the lots was for all of their customer information, and there's like a provision in the explanation of what's happening with this bankruptcy auction that the transfer of that data needs to be overseen by like a privacy ombudsman, blah blah blah, making sure that it doesn't gets transferred appropriately, I guess. And so yeah, if something happened there and the TikTok hug of death, I don't think we got that many people.
No, I think somebody's in here maybe that's just affiliated with Artesian or something like that. And
hey
probably
man, it was on your.
They're talking about
that's the case. The link was on your Instagram bio.
No, it was absolutely fair game. There's nothing. It's
not like I did something weird. Besides,
it's
a public auction. It's gonna like maybe this Dropbox wasn't the most appropriate way to spread this information, but go look it up. Go look it up. Artesian Builds bankruptcy court. You're gonna find it. It's public. Yeah. It's a public auction. It's a public thing that's happening. Like you can just
it also was a they didn't. It wasn't a protected Dropbox. Like they did a public link. So and they linked right to it. So it's obviously public.
Well, I have the East Coast inventory list open at least.
I wish I had to save the first one. It's probably still in my internet cache. I'll go back and save it.
Here's an example of why you don't keep a lot of product on hand, like all the time. This list claims 100 i3 10100 CPUs. Who's buying that?
Yeah, if you're gonna have like a custom builder make your PC, you're not gonna go for the lowest spec thing.
Who's buying that?
Yeah,
like, look, I don't know, somebody obviously, or they wouldn't have had 100 of them on hand. But it's just why would you have 100 of them?
Yeah,
like I want to know where their brain. I want a story behind the guy who decided to keep 100 of them.
The only thing to think of is mining rigs. That's it, because mining rigs don't use a lot of CPU, right? You just need enough computer to drive the.
Yeah, I suppose you could do like a streaming build or like a second machine on that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he was using the inventory from Artesian to build the mining rigs for the other business.
Honestly, that wouldn't be too weird. You could have the AB mining, right? You know, it's Artesian builds operating as AB mining, and then you funnel. It's not even funnel. That has a negative connotation to it. Like your sub brand or whatever, it's still the same company, but you're just operating. Like I have a business license under Custom Tailored Computers LLC. I could, for $5, throw in another name, doing business as beardyguys.com or whatever, and do whatever the fuck I want.
Good name. You should copyright that one.
I'm just saying, like, which that blew my mind. So when you start a business, they ask like, hey, what are you going to be doing with your business? You don't have to do that. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I could go buy rental properties with my business if I want. Like, you're not stuck in the lane that you choose when you get your business license. The business can buy and sell and do whatever they want. It's really neat.
And that's not uncommon too, for like a business to have like sub businesses too that are fed for or funded, or money's transferred back and forth and stuff like that. It just depends on how you found the business that limits it or not.
And then you get big enough, of course, and you start getting into like S corps and stuff, and then you have like separate LLCs that are owned by your big corporation and stuff. But
I don't know how many employees Artesian had. Do you know?
No,
because I have no clue.
It had to be quite a few.
It has to be like, at least like 20 people, 15 or 20 people between the two locations to build that volume of PCs.
It has to be more. I would think Beardy Builder, maybe. But yeah, dude, that's funny. Here's in this inventory list. This has to be from them, because listen to this. This is there's a line item, says PSU power supply, gigabyte, fire hazard, horrible, 750 watt PSUs, 90. Oh,
that's listed somebody, in inventory.
Somebody knew what they were talking about in going through this list, and they're just being, I don't know, lazy. I don't know.
Dude, that might actually just be their inventory. Yeah, I think you're right.
It feels like a dump right out of an Excel sheet. Like, this is how they were keeping track, was just like an Excel.
That's hilarious. Like, I thought it was just somebody walking through, but nobody would look at a gigabyte power supply and be like, oh, fire hazard, lol.
Yeah, nobody who doesn't know what they were looking at would put that into a document. Crazy.
Yeah, man. Hey, Lewis, thank you for that $1.99 super chat. We appreciate it, brother.
Just crazy.
Thanks for the support. Isn't that crazy though? Like, man. So they're just doing 2 lots. So the auction is on the 21st. Three. Well, what's the third lot for?
The information.
The information. Okay, so they're selling the customer
database
database separately, the East Coast full inventory and the West Coast full inventory.
Yep.
And people are going to bid via a Zoom auction, right?
Correct.
So was the Zoom auction information also in there? Or
not that I saw?
So my guess
I do still have that
day
document
or something.
I do still have that document open.
So I mean, shit, you guys go bid on it. You never know.
If I knew I could have the backing of it, and somebody else is going to come in, like somebody like Origin or something, is actually probably not Origin because they're owned by Corsair now.
And plus
but
the shipping would be ridiculous.
Nah, there's like half a dozen. I think iBuyPower, CyberPower, Zydax. A couple others are all located in City of Industry, which is just north.
They just drive over there with a truck and just pick it up.
Yeah, it looks like all this stuff is located in Burbank, I think is what it said.
Okay.
Was there?
So if somebody buys it, it's probably going to
Oakland.
If it's in California,
it's in Oakland. It's in Oakland even. That's like an hour drive to City of Industry.
So yeah, everybody that's bidding on this, the local guys can bid a lot more because they don't have to worry about the logistics of moving the inventory.
Yeah.
So they're gonna win it no matter what. No, you're right.
It'll be somebody like iBuyPower or Zydax or something.
Hey, somebody go tell Jay's 2 cents to buy up that inventory.
They're getting a deal, man.
He's down there, man. He could drive up there and load that shit into U-Haul. Take it to the studio.
I'm a little surprised Jay doesn't have his own custom shop.
You know what?
For those,
it may happen
like he
someday.
didn't. I mean, like he doesn't even have to be hands on most of the time. Like he could just like.
No, he could totally just
his
lend his
name,
brand to
just
it,
his
right?
name, and pump out. And dude, you could do one super rad, Uber liquid machine a month, and probably and rake in 5-6 G's profit.
Build the machine in a series of videos, throw it in a box, ship it to the builders, and say replicate this model. Like make it look exactly like this. Oh, gotta go get the dog. No, that would actually be like a good idea. Does anybody do that right now? Is there anybody? I mean, I know Artesian PCs would like they build stuff on stream and then they would sell it, but I don't know if they like had a specific PC they built on stream that they're like, oh, if you want to order this exact thing, go there. Our Barnacules Nerdgasm exists. I am alive, Al Kyle. I know most of the internet thinks that I'm dead, but no, I'm here. I'm alive. I haven't posted in that Reddit for years. It's been years. Not a big fan of Reddit. I know a lot of people love Reddit. I am not a big fan of Reddit. Hey, Ran You Cafe, thank you for the $1.57 super chat. We appreciate it. So thoughts on Elon Musk sued for $258 billion.
Oh, which is that the Doge thing?
That's the crypto, yeah, the crypto thing.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So I just think it's funny they're suing him for $258 billion when that's his exact net worth right now.
Oh, that's dumb. That's dumb.
They're like, we want every penny, because he was like 300 billion, and then after the crash, I think he went down to like 200, 250 or somewhere in there. Man, so I just think it's funny that the number they're suing for is basically like every penny that he has, and it's not liquid, so he couldn't get access to that money just because it's on paper. People don't really understand this. They're like, oh man, he's the richest man in the world. No, there's the richest man in the world who's liquid, and there's the richest man in the world on paper.
Yeah, there's a difference between net worth and actual like buy. But yeah, exactly. But when it comes to rich like that level, and even this is stuff I've kind of been piecing together. This is how rich folk do their thing, right? They have they have this value, their portfolios and investments and things. They borrow against that.
Exactly.
And so that's how they can get away with not paying income taxes, because debt, crediting, borrowing against your assets is not considered income, but it still gives you tremendous purchasing power. And that's where people get confused. It's like, oh, like, you know, whatever. Bezos could just solve world hunger by giving everybody $1 billion and he'd still have $47 billion. Well, no, it doesn't work that way, because as soon as he tries to liquidate any of his valued assets, it's going to fuck everything up.
No, you got to do what Bill Gates does. What you do is you basically just liquidate a chunk every year, right? That offsets the capital gains tax. Yeah, like I think he sold like 500 million a year was like what Bill Gates did the whole time I worked at Microsoft. Every year, because he had to disclose it to the public, because he was still on the board of directors or the CEO at the time. Oh, and so he disclosed, oh, we're selling, but investors knew it was coming. It was a regular cadence thing that was expected. Mm-hmm. And what it did is he gave the 500 million, but it ended up saving the company more than the 500 million. So it was actually a way for him. It wasn't charitable. It was because otherwise he would have just given it to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Right. The reason that he was doing it was for tax reasons for the company, because he'd donate $500 million in stock, and then they would liquidate it. Like when he'd give it over to the charity, they would liquidate it, but then he could write off the full value of that stock. So even if they held the stock for a period of time before they sold it and it lost or gained, he wouldn't be responsible for that. Right. He could sell it, because if you put $500 million of stock up for sale, that could affect the stock price. Yeah. Like depending on the size of your company, that can affect it. So it's better for you to transfer it and know that you're going to get the full value for every share, because you gave it away as a charity, and the government's like, listen, we're going to give you whatever it's worth at the time you gave it away. And then if it goes down, or they sell that lot and it gets, they sell the first, 50,000, it keeps making the stock go down a little bit. They're going to get less money than that in the end, but he's going to get the write-off for the full amount or something like that. It's a weird little loophole that gets billionaires to donate money, basically. Yep.
I like this question.
Oh yeah. Definitely get that one.
So Joel, thank you for the $20. That's very kind. He says, how do you avoid getting your address leaked when starting an LLC? My personal data is constantly showing up in data dumps, and I would not trust a lot of registered agents to handle my address. Honestly, I'm not really sure, because the registered agent is how you would at least protect your physical location. You can
get a holding company to do it.
Yeah, but then there's that too. There are companies who will act. Well, that's kind of the registered agent thing. Basically, you need an address, a physical. It doesn't have to necessarily be like it can't be a PO box, because the idea is it has to be a place that they can send paperwork that they know a human being is going to receive it. Yeah. and for official documentation and things like that. So other than a registered agent, then you have to list a physical location, an office, or something. If you don't trust the registered agents, that's on you. I mean, that's what they're there for. They're meant to protect your personal information as a small business. And stuff.
Think of it like when you register a domain and you pay the $10 a year or whatever for the private, and then your information just gets changed to some company's information. It's the same thing. You can just
probably the person who sold you the domain or whoever is holding the actual
like if you ever see an address for a company and you go look it up on like Google Maps and it literally just looks like an empty office. It's like Suite J,
you could do that.
F, Suite Z. That the reason they're doing that is because they're partitioning off the one office into like a million little shell companies.
Yeah, you could do that.
Forward your email they forward the mail from there.
You could rent a like a storage unit and then have your mail sent to the address of the storage unit.
I bet you that'd probably
It'd be weird. Yeah. The management of the storage facility would be like, why the fuck are you having mail sent here?
Yeah, why do people keep coming here and trying to return products? Like what are you doing?
That's crossed my mind for build space. Actually,
the one thing I will say,
I've thought about renting a 5x10 storage, and then getting like a cell phone hotspot kind of deal for build space.
Storage actually isn't that expensive.
No, storage units cheap. It's like
you can get like a 10x8 is like $100 a month or something like that. It's not terrible.
There's a storage place right nearby.
Yeah, I found one in my town, and it was a little more expensive than the one over. Like in Woodinville, you can get one for like $100 last time I checked. Here it was like $150, but it's also a heated, insulated facility.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
It's indoors, so you open a door and you go inside, and then you go into your unit, right?
That's nice.
And your unit has power. It has a power outlet in it. One power outlet.
Way. I was thinking I'd have to get one of them socket adapters that's got the plugs on it.
Yeah, because there's some people that store stuff like boats and jet skis and stuff, and they want to put trickle chargers on them.
Yeah.
So they have a power outlet. I don't know what it's rated for amp-wise. They might severely limit it.
I mean, that's not too bad. So there's a facility close to
You're not allowed to work out of it though. They specifically say that. Like, because
do what I want. I do what I want. Yeah, for crying out loud.
Dude, there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to a guy who lives in storage units. Have you seen that?
No, but that's super illegal. You're not supposed to do that.
Super illegal. This dude literally has a YouTube channel. I don't know how they don't like kick him out. Like, I almost think that he might, like, his parents own the facility or something, because I don't know how you would get away with this. Yeah. He has, like, he opens the door and he's got like a bed, shelving. Like, he actually built a proper like apartment in this little 8x10 storage unit. He has like a large format 50-inch screen on the TV. Yeah. And then he gets his water. He takes his water out and he built a contraption so that he goes to the water fountain, and he basically like takes this funnel and puts it under the water fountain and then pushes the cart against the little bar to turn it on, and then it fills up like his 10-gallon reservoir that he takes back.
Yeah, that's real weird. He's got to have some kind of deal, because like, especially if it's an inside sort of storage place, they've got hardcore security for like climate controlled sorts of places.
Have somebody
There's cameras and stuff on every hallway and things like that, and they would know. They could if it were like outside, one of those outside ones where like you come in and out, like they might eventually get suspicious of like, hey man, your card was swiped at 8 p.m. and you didn't swipe out until 8 a.m. like WTF.
Figure it out. They would definitely figure it
No,
out.
it's not illegal to exist.
Like
it's sarcasm. Sorry. I didn't read all the way through that. But yeah.
Yeah, honestly, if people could do that, I imagine everybody would be doing that, because like with free electricity and free water and plumbing because you just use the bathroom in the facility because they have to have one.
You could so storage units are outrageously like profitable, like for the square footage and whatnot, for what you're making, like bro.
And then they got the multi-level ones too, right?
Oh man,
so even cheaper.
Make money hand over fist with storage units. But no reason why you couldn't do something like the thing. I think what stops people is that there's a lot of rules and regulations when it comes to housing facilities. Yeah. But like and it would be, but places like Japan and stuff have like micro apartments and stuff that are like, it's like a 10x10 room.
Oh,
it's
I've
like a little,
those. The capsule, the rooms or whatever. Yeah, those are awesome.
Or less even. Like I've seen them where, like, I'm looking through this storage facility that's close to my house. They got 5x7s. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough to sleep in. You could make that work. That's not much different than when I was living in a 19-foot Class B Winnebago. A little bigger. The Winnebago was a little bigger, but not much off of there. And so like you could, and then you charge them $300 a month. So
yeah, there's a capsule hotel because I watch a lot of travel channels, like these guys that like travel to Japan and stuff and ride on like the fancy trains and airplanes and stuff. And there's a capsule hotel in the capital city, right? Like what is it, Tokyo? In Tokyo, you can actually stay in a capsule hotel. I think it's $15 US a night. So that would work out to I think $450 a month. So and that's like in Tokyo, like you and you're living in a hotel. It's not even like you're renting it for the month. You're paying by the day, but you can is like, a foreigner that's visiting for a couple of months, just, pay him in advance for the 3 months and then just live there. And it had like all the amenities. It had a shower room with like multiple showers in it. It had a really nice bathroom with a bidet. Well, everything in Japan has the bidet and the fancy toilet. But it had like a sauna. It had a game room that you could go into, like a general lounge area where people could go and play darts and stuff, so that you only had to go to your capsule really to sleep. The rest of the time, if you paid for the room, you had access to the whole facility. You go take a shower, go shoot a game of pool or whatever, and it was pretty cool. They had dartboards and stuff, and I was like, $15, the cheapest room that I've ever gotten at a hotel, like ever in my entire life, is I think I paid $29 on a sale during the week at like a Motel 8. When I walked into the room, it looked like it was last remodeled in the 60s. There was mold all over the wallpaper in the ceiling, and the whole place just reeked like an old person. Like it was bad. It was gross. It was over in Bend, Oregon. And it was like literally the most disgusting hotel room I ever stayed in my life. And that was $29.
Wow.
So $15, like, even though it's a smaller space, obviously, it's like nice and clean and maintained, and I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. Like, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, if you're claustrophobic, you'd be fucked. Like, you couldn't do that if you're claustrophobic. But it's a cool idea. You okay there, boss?
Yeah, I just sneeze.
Oh, I was like, oh my god, malfunction. Wow. Malfunction. Need input. That's almost like 2 whole gallons of gas right now. I know, right? It's like, gasoline is expensive. I think gas prices are artificially being inflated, though, because there's still places people are still sending me messages from, like, in the middle states, where they're paying like $4.25 a gallon.
Yeah.
And in California, it's like $7 something a gallon. You can't tell me there's supposed to be a $3 delta there. Like, somebody is screwing people.
Well, in part, there's like, you got to think like California's probably got steeper gas taxes.
Sure.
Because like I think I just recently paid $5.10 or so.
Yeah, it's a little over $5 is the average I'm seeing where I live too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but I've seen some places like in the Midwest where it's way cheaper.
That's only just hitting what it was in like 2008, like when everything was falling apart. I don't remember what was really going on with the gas at that point, but it was right around there. And I was driving a tow truck. Thankfully, I wasn't paying gas on that. But same kind of deals where like the cash card, the company card would get locked, or like you're only allowed $100. When I'm trying to fill up a 22-gallon tank, it's costing $300, to freaking crank that out. So, oh man, $2 a liter, and it's about 4 liters to a gallon. Like that's
it's funny. We complain about gas prices here because our government subsidizes it so much. You go to other countries, it's so expensive.
We're like the third cheapest. I think it's like Singapore, Laos, and us, and we're paying like an average of, call it $5. I think it's like
just go to Canada. Canada, it's like what, like $2.50 a liter or something like that. So it works out like almost $10 a gallon. Like,
people complaining, but we got it good compared to the rest of the fucking planet.
Yeah,
like,
it's funny
real
that you
good.
get used to stuff. And you just
2
take
pounds.
It for
my bad. That's my bad. 2 pounds, and so it's like $1.25 to a pound right now.
Or like when I went to Indiana. So when I went to Indiana, to meth country, they had ethanol E85 at every gas station. That corn, the corn gas,
GBP.
So ethanol over here is really expensive. Like, to buy E85, there's maybe 2 or 3 gas stations I know of in the entire state that sell E85 here, and it's really expensive. I want to say it's like, even before the price hikes, it was like 5 something a gallon compared to regular gas, and you burn it a lot faster. You burn 30% more fuel because ethanol, you need a lot more fuel volume to produce the same power.
Yep.
But it's like you go to the Midwest and it's like it's cheap. Like if you can get your car to run on E85, just put E85 in it. It's actually cheaper than like regular gasoline. And I couldn't believe that. And I think it's because, they grow all the corn there. So it's like close to where the corn is, right?
Processed
but if
there.
That's true, but if that's true, then why the hell is it where all the oil comes into harbor here and has the least transport distance? That's where it's the most expensive. The Midwest, it's cheap, where they have to literally truck the fuel across like 5 states to get it there, right?
Subsidies, I would guess.
It's
somebody's paying.
I've never understood that. Like San Francisco is like literally like that's the shipping harbor where like the fuel ships come in.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, that's where the fuel ships come in. Why the hell is the fuel so expensive?
It's either not refined yet, so it has to move from its import place to a refinery and then back. And then subsidies and things like that, taxes in different states.
I mean, they transport it by rail. It's not by truck, so it is cheaper. They're using like trains to pull it, which lowers the price like exponentially compared to trucking.
Here we go. $10 from Bitchy Poo. Thank you. Good morning, guys. I have off-topic question. I have a hard drive suffering click of death. I'm looking for a recovery company somewhat local to the Northwest. Are you able to access that drive at all? Because if you're looking for a professional recovery company, it's going to be very, very expensive.
Yeah, it's the last drive I had recovered was like $750.
I was going to say at least $1,000.
Yep. And that was a long time ago. That was like 10 years ago. So
for professional recovery services, it is very expensive.
I can tell you though, if
it better be mission critical shit, not just like family photos.
And it's not guaranteed either. It's not guaranteed recovery. Like they'll charge you a set rate, and then if they can't recover the data, you lose your deposit basically, and they give your refund on the rest.
It's still work that they tried,
Yeah. So but they charge you the full rate if they do it. But
I know there is like a hardcore pro status like clean room style recovery place in Washington. I can't recall off the top of my head. Do some poking around, but there are some heavy duty. I mean, it makes sense. Look, I mean, you got like the 3 biggest tech companies have major, presences here.
I can tell you something you can try though, and again, this is at your own risk. But I used to do data recovery for friends, because they couldn't afford $2,000, right? So the thing that I've had the highest success for recovering a drive from click of death, and it's only temporary. You have to get the data off the drive as fast as possible, and this is only if it fails because the bearing wore out. And this is usually how most drives fail after 5 years. Spinning disk, the bearing will wear out, and it'll slow down the drive so it can't hit its peak RPM. And so the drive, if it can't hit its peak RPM, it basically powers down and powers back up again, and powers down. And it creates a clicking sound. You'll get this, and then it'll go, and you'll hear a click because the read head will slap back against the little end stop, and then it'll go, and so if your drive is doing that, what you can do is put it in a Ziploc bag, suck all the air out of it with a straw. Like you don't have to get it all out. Just get as much air out of it as possible because you don't want any moisture in the bag. And then stick it in your freezer for like 8 or 10 hours. Let it freeze really, really good. Pull it right out of there, plug it in the computer, and boot it up. Because when you freeze the bearing, it contracts it.
Just a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense.
That it can spin up, but that drive will start heating up the second that you turn it on. So you literally only have like maybe 15, 20 minutes to get data off of it. And then you might have to repeat it again and again and again until you get everything you're looking for.
That's really clever.
But I've recovered probably 80% of the dead drives that I've had, and from other people using that method on both laptop and PC drives. And then if that fails, the one that you can do that's ultra fucking risky, but I've also recovered data twice doing this when I worked at Mothersboard Computers back in the day, is find the exact same drive with the exact same model number. It can be a different, it can be a different serial number, it can be a different firmware, but it can't be, it has to, everything else has to match, and you literally transfer the platters over.
Oof.
So
be real careful.
You have to be in the cleanest ever, because if a speck of dust gets on that thing, it'll blow the head apart.
Man, we're talking like painter's bunny suit, fucking mask. Don't breathe on the thing. Don't wear gloves and shit.
I've done it twice with nothing more than a fan next to it, creating negative pressure. And I was successful twice. Now I've failed. I've also failed 2 or 3 times, but 2 of the times I was able to actually get it back together and recover the data. But the drive started developing bad sectors rapidly. So it's like you got to get your data off as fast as possible. And the only time you have to really transfer the platters, like if the bearing is shot. So you move it over to the new use the bearing from the other drive and put it back together. The other thing you can do is transfer the electronics over, which can sometimes be easier. But the only problem is when you some of the electronics packages in there and stuff are like jammed in under that read head, like under the edge of it. And if you pry that thing off and you don't pull it out as a whole assembly, it's really hard to get it lined back up again without touching the surface of the disk.
Wow.
And you don't want to touch the surface of the disk because it's like the magnetic traces are like so minute that any static from your finger will just wipe that thing. Yeah. Like it won't even be able to recover the sector at that point. So, but yeah, you can technically do it, and that's what they're doing. If you send it to a data recovery specialist, that's exactly what they're doing. They keep all the drive housings for all the models and everything on hand, and they go into a clean room and they slowly and methodically transfer over the platters. And if the bearings are good, they'll transfer over the bearings too, because the more the assembly is together, the cheaper it's going to be for the recovery. But if they have to take each one of those platters off of the spindle and transfer them over to a new assembly, yeah, you're going to be spending like probably $2,000-$3,000 to get your data back.
Dang.
And they'll send you the drive back. Like once they refurbish it, they'll send you the drive back, and they'll send you a backup of the data just on the off chance that the drive fails again.
Hey,
cool. So I mean, but again, it's like, is it worth it if you're a business and that's like your customer database? Then $2,000 ain't shit. But if you're just trying to recover like something that's like, take it or leave it or something like that, and you're willing to take a little bit of a risk, I mean, you can technically fix it yourself, but there is risk involved. So it's still a $10,000 process. I mean, it depends on, like, recovering SSDs is stupid expensive.
Oh no, I wouldn't even bother.
Yeah, for recovering SSDs, they literally remove the NAND chips, and on the newer SSDs, they're like stacked. So they like methodically remove these chips and move them over to a new circuit board and like solder them under like a microscope. Man, and so that's probably a $10,000 data recovery.
I've seen like TikToks and stuff of guys that do that. They'll get these like busted iPhones. And he's like, oh, hey, I got this iPhone whatever in from so and so, and we're gonna check it out, see if we can bring it back to life. The thing won't turn on, you plug it in, won't charge, blah blah blah. Let's find out. Cracks the thing open, hooks it up to his magic testing electronical stuff, whatever it is, and he's like, I got this thermal thing, let's see what's going on here. Turn it on, plug it in. Oh, this little section is getting really hot. Okay, well, let's zoom in on this because it's clearly not this bigger chip. Like, that's dumb. Yeah. So he's like, zoom in, and it's like this tiny ass little thing, some weird little widget, and he's just knocks it off, cleans up the solder a bit, gets a new one out of a big pile of other ones, puts it back, and he goes, okay, badong, and the thing just turns right back on.
Yeah, those guys are really good, and they have a lot of specialized hardware.
Like, and he's sitting here fixing iPhones with this stuff. Like, come on, man, you got to have a different job. You got this weird equipment like this. This is crazy.
Yeah, like the reflow machines. Have you seen those? Where it's like like an easy bake infrared oven that just like melts all the solder, and then when they turn it off, the solder re-solidifies and it fixes all the crap in the solder.
There's a guy.
He does it for consoles.
He's close. Oh, nice. There's a guy around close to where I work, the actual office. And he does tiny electronic stuff like that. He's fixed graphics cards and things weird. You knock some weird transistor or some doodad off of the board, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a pile of those things for like $30 or something. I'll just solder the thing back on, and ta-da, your 1080 Ti works again. It's crazy. I wish part of me is like, man, I wish I had that kind of skill and stuff, but that's a whole different path I should have started down on in high school or something. Yeah, but it's cool that there's folk out there who can do that kind of stuff. That is awesome.
Definitely. But just bitchy poo, if you want to try the freezing method with sucking the air out, I've never had a drive like fail worse by doing that. So as long as you get most of the air out of the bag and you freeze it, I don't think you're really risking your data anymore.
If you got one of them vacuum pack fucking food saver things, bruh,
you don't want to use that.
Why not?
Because it'll create a vacuum inside of the drive through the vent.
It's already one. Well, that's like the point, right?
I would be careful with that. Like, the only reason I say that is because if you
keep a little space over keep a little thing over the hole so there's like a bubble.
Oh, you could if you put like a little sticker over the hole or something so that it doesn't draw the nitrogen out of the drive or whatever, you'd probably be fine. Because there's like a vent on the drive that when it gets like critically hot, it can like
there's that hole on the pressure. Yeah, there's a hole that says "do not cover."
The little breather hole, and it's got like a little filter on the inside of it, so no particulate can get in or out. Yeah, but they usually fill the drives with nitrogen. Like they assemble them in a nitrogen room, so that you have an inert gas. That's why they fail faster when they have when they're air. But that vent still over time is that nitrogen is going to be replaced with air anyways. But I think pulling a vacuum on it might. I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't think of anything in there. The only thing that I'd worry about is like capacitors in there have voids, air gaps inside of them. And the vacuum could cause the capacitor to expand and blow up. And I don't know if I put like those electronics in a vacuum.
I don't think the little food saver would be that powerful. It's not enough.
That's true. It's not going to pull like an absolute vacuum. Yeah, you're right.
No. Because like, it's like for like marinating steaks and doing sous vide shit and freezing chicken breasts.
That's a good point.
I can't imagine it's that strong.
Yeah,
a little stronger
right.
than you going.
Yeah,
but not so much as like.
Because honestly, if it was like a true vacuum, you'd be like sucking all the juice out of that meat too,
Yeah,
like when you freeze
right?
it. So yeah, it's probably fairly weak.
I think you could get away with it.
Or there are helium drives. Do they have a hole? Yeah, they all have a hole, but it's like
it's for pressure. It's to maintain pressure because the drive heats up, expands whatever gas is already in there. So it's got to have some way of. It's probably like a sort of tiny one-way valve. It allows enough of the expansion to come out, or it gives a place for it to expand into, and then can contract again when it cools off.
Yeah,
it's got to be because of heat.
It matters with the really high RPM drives, like the stuff that's like 10,000 plus. Yeah, they have like a helium or nitrogen atmosphere for some reason inside of them. I don't know if it's because it's lighter than air or something that allows the disc to spin with less resistance, or turbulence or whatever. But so once you open them up, they actually do like start degrading pretty fast. Like if I ever cracked a seal on a drive, I would expect it to fail pretty quickly,
like 10 seconds or something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'd be able to get your data off of it, but it's going to die way quicker than it would have otherwise. So just remember, if you crack your hard drive open, like if you take the top off, I'm going to look at the platters and put it back together. It's like a couple specks of dust getting in there will wipe out that head. The read head is like this tiny itty bitty little piece of foil. Yep. And if like a speck of dust hits that thing at 10,000 RPM with that thing whipping around or whatever, it'll destroy it. And then you won't be able to get any of your data. And the thing is, if the head failed, like if the read head itself failed, then you have to actually transfer the discs to new assembly or bring in another read arm. And that's a big pain in the ass. But the bearings, if the bearings are bad, you can freeze it and it should fix it for a little while.
Yeah, man. Head crash, you're probably screwed. Think about scratching a vinyl record. Like,
yeah, and usually with a head crash, it makes like a really like you just hear that thing like winging around because it moves until it picks up like the inner track, and so if it doesn't hit that, it just whacks back and forth between the end stops. So it's a really interesting mechanism. Like if you look at the way the arm works, it's not like a motor driving it; it's like just a magnet that determines its position. It's weird. I don't even know how it works honestly, because I've taken a drive apart and there's like no motor on the arm. It's just wires going in, feeding power to like a little electromagnet. Which dictates where the arm goes. So they must be able to do that with like a high precision, like a stepper motor wouldn't even be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's all got to be like electromagnet.
Thumbnail is not flattering. Hey, it got you in here, didn't it?
Yeah. And actually, engaged.
Yeah.
You commented, you're watching.
It's engagement, man. That's how you do it. That's how it's done, my friends.
Yeah.
Actually, I took that picture literally in bed. I like woke up and I was like, oh man, I should create a pre-stream today so people can find the stream. And so it's like, make a thumbnail, and it gave me like 3 seconds. So I just brought the thing up and took a picture of my face, and I was like, there you go. That's the thumbnail. Screams Tech Talk.
All right, let's see here.
It's fine. See, actually, we got 241 people in here right now.
Hey,
22 likes though. We need some more likes, man. Smash that like
more.
Button. Teal Josh did, dude. Be like Teal Josh. Hit that like
button. Be like him. Be more like
him, please.
Yeah. How do I find? Let me see. I gotta find. I'm still stuck on this Artesian build stuff, man. It's fun.
So Stream Elements bought from Stream Elements.
New tweet. That's cool.
Yeah. So Stream Elements is I didn't even know it could do that. Like I thought it could only tweet stuff that I told it to tweet. It looks like they have access to send out whatever.
There may have been some checkbox you didn't or did click or something, some default thing.
Probably not. I mean, you do have to give them access to like post and stuff because that's a bot, obviously. So yeah. So I'd imagine on certain cases they're going to use that.
Stream Elements seems a lot less skeezy than Streamlabs.
Oh God, it's way better. Stay away from Streamlabs.
You got them files? You got them files, bruh. I'm very interested. Please, I don't know, put those someplace where we can all look at them.
Oh, you were able to get them before the site went down?
Peter Evans was.
Good.
I think there was somebody else as well who was quick on the draw. I'm just curious. I'm just curious to go through the paperwork and stuff. I want to know how this sort of stuff works out because, I imagine this kind of thing happens all the time. There's a million fucking tiny PC builders out there. Like, better to just use OBS. I like Stream Elements' fork of OBS, the integration, and you can get all of the same plugins and stuff that they've done.
You mean Streamlabs? Because Stream Elements doesn't have its own OBS.
Yeah, it does.
It does? Wait, when did they do that?
It's called for real? Where is it? Yeah, man, it's right there on the webpage.
I honestly didn't even know. I want to try it out.
What do they call it? Like stream dot .live or something like that.
Is that like a
or
is that a new
OBS.live.
thing that they're doing, or
no? It's just no. They've had it for a little while.
Let me look under streaming tools. Okay, overlays.
Just go to Stream Elements. Like it's right there on their main page. Get started now.
Let me go to the main page here.
Speech.
So go to dashboard.
Oh, it's going to take me straight to my dashboard. Features. But where is it? Here, if you're on your own dashboard.
Oh, download SE Live. Yeah, I see it right here.
SE.live. Yeah.
SE.live, the ultimate plugin for OBS Studio.
Yeah, it is still OBS Studio, but it's a plugin that's attached to it that gives you like your activity feed and chat and all that stuff built in. It's super nice. It's really nice.
It's just a plugin though. It's not like Streamlabs where they basically released their own fork of OBS.
No. It's just a plugin for OBS Studio.
Yeah, so this gives you like the little plugins for like chat and stuff like that all inside of OBS if you want it. Like it creates the windows.
It is I like it better than just flat straight up OBS Studio but again, it's a plugin. It's still OBS Studio. It's just they put some really nice features into the whole window.
Okay, so seamlessly add your most important stream info directly into OBS Studio, replay, skip, and mute alerts. So it gives you extended control over your Stream Elements alerts, free custom bot name, so you can deploy your Stream Elements bots and control it. And okay, this looks kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't see this plugin. I had a standalone program that you could open that was like separate that they used to have, but I didn't know they made it like a plugin so you can like snap in your windows and everything. That's pretty cool.
Why are comments turned off? What are you talking about? Peter Smith says comments are turned off.
Comments are turned off.
On what?
Like they shouldn't be.
Yeah, what?
I mean, people are like commenting, right?
Well, there's the chat. Is it like under the YouTube?
I don't know. Like, wait. So
you can't. I mean, if
there's no comments until the stream ends.
Yeah, you can't do comments like your classic on YouTube while we're live. That's what the chat is for. Once we're done streaming, then it becomes like there's both. There's the chat log will scroll while you're watching, but then there's also like comments.
Yeah, I'm looking at the settings right now. It says live chat is enabled, participant mode, who can send messages, and I have anyone.
Yeah.
So you should be able to talk.
Yeah.
The only way you wouldn't be able to talk is if you're blocked and you're under an alt account. Yeah. Like that's the only reason. Like you're basically banned if your stuff's not showing up.
Yeah.
Or you're using a blacklisted word too. Like YouTube maintains a blacklist of words that it'll just filter in your message. It'll show up on your end like when you type it in, but it won't show up anywhere else. So it's like a little bit of a shadow banning thing. I've noticed that there's a lot more shadow banning going on various different services right now. Did I tell you I caught Twitter doing it? So I didn't think Twitter did the shadow ban stuff, but I logged in under a different account. So I created an alt. I logged into it. I followed myself, and I only saw 1 out of like every 10 tweets that I made.
Wow.
Would show up in the news, even though I was following. So I followed myself. And on the other account, and I was only seeing 1. And I followed 10 people just to make sure there was other people in the feed. Everybody else's messages showed up from the other 9 people. It was just my account that 1 message showed up. So I sent out another message, and I was like, could you guys go look at my profile and see if you see every tweet that I'm making? And a ton of people said that they could, but even more people said that they couldn't. They're like, wow, I only see like 1 tweet from you every couple of days. And I was like, this is weird. Like I know that by default it selects like this algorithmic news feed where it basically picks and chooses from who you follow, like what shows up in the feed in what order. But I didn't know it actually like filtered out tweets like for people that the platform's like, this person, because remember I was hunting bots, which could trigger the algorithm. Like I went and looked at the things that trigger a shadow ban, and one of them was if it perceives you as a bot, which I was baiting bots and I was making fun of bots and I was doing like what bots do.
Yeah.
So I ended, and I wondered why my metrics just felt like my analytics went off a cliff for like seemingly no reason. Yeah. Like it wasn't like a steady decline. It's just like boom, like a couple of months ago. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Why am I only like 8 likes on a tweet that's about like Windows? Like that never happens. And then I realized when I logged into the other account, it doesn't show up. So the only tweets that perform well are the ones that slip through that crack and go out to most people. And I still don't think it goes out to everybody. I think it only 1 out of 10 I was lucky enough to see in my feed on the alt account. So I'm like, son of a bitch, what did I do to piss off Twitter? So now I got to go back through and they said the only way to fix it from this third-party website that's been like looking into it is they said you have to go back and delete all the tweets that you made where it notified you this tweet may be hateful content. Do you want to continue? You know, that little thing that pops up.
Oh yeah. Like,
yeah.
What?
So if you say continue, then they lower your weight on your account because they're like, oh, you're circumventing and you're posting vicious shit. So So they're gonna like slow down how you reach it. Because I was wondering, I was like, I have 114,000 followers, and my tweet engagement is maybe 250 to 450 people, and that's people that see it. That's not people that actually click like. That's the number of people that physically see it in their feed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is messed up. Like, and I have no way to like tell everybody, hey, go check my profile to see if it's there. They're just going to be looking at their feeds.
Right.
So, and YouTube does the same thing. If all you do is live stream and you don't upload it edited content, or you don't upload shorts, then you start disappearing out of search, and the results start bubbling to the top above you.
America, that just is more reason why Facebook and YouTube needs to have a separate landing, like entry point for their live content. I again must say I have no clue where to find, and I'm meaning this organically. I don't know where to find live content on Facebook organically. Like I think in the back of my head, I know what the link is to get there. But if I go to facebook.com and it opens up my feed with all the buttons and things all around, where is it? How does anybody making money on Facebook Live? Blows my mind. Don't know how anybody's being successful on Facebook Live. I don't know. Or gaming. I don't know what the fuck they even call it anymore.
I also noticed that YouTube's trying to become TikTok, which is another weird
thing. Shorts. Yeah,
because if you create shorts, they get so much more engagement than a regular video. So YouTube is like promoting you way higher. And I've even noticed on my TV app where I watch most of my YouTube, there are a ton more shorts that are showing up, even though I subscribe to people that make like full videos, right? That I want to go watch. I keep seeing these shorts from channels that I've never watched before just showing up in my recommended feed. And so it's like the people I sub to and these random shorts from people that show up primarily. And you click on them, it's like some of these things like 13, 14 million views on like a short from a channel that their next video has like 300 views. That's it, period. And they're in the millions with some of these shorts. So YouTube is really pushing the stories or whatever, the YouTube stories or whatever the hell feature they're calling. Shorts. Yeah, everything is like duplicating everything. It's like Instagram has like 5 things, TikTok has like 5 things now. They're all like just duplicating each other.
Yeah, like right now the meta for Instagram is Reels, which is their TikTok equivalent. You know, and it's all the same leapfrogging stuff that you see all the time.
And plus the Reels on Instagram, I think, are the only mechanism that pays. So like if you're in their partner program, the Reels, you actually get like this Reels play bonus thing where you get like a certain ad payment every month, but you can't apply that to any other post. Like your regular posts of pictures and stuff, because they're trying to get people to transition and do more Reels because that's the TikTok thing. And so I just feel like every company just eventually, I mean, and this is common. This happens even with cell phones and stuff with Android and iOS. Anytime a company is successful doing something, every other company is going to replicate it or emulate it and just change it enough that they don't get sued, right? So that's why like every platform, it used to be like, oh, you come to Twitch for live streams, you go to YouTube for edited videos, you go to Instagram if you want pictures of things, you go to Vine if you want like these little shorts or whatever. And it's like now all of those have been combined, that it's like doesn't matter if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the same things exist. Like and I'm not necessarily even saying that that's a bad thing. Like it's, if they want to, eat each other's lunch, I mean, that's just business, right?
Yeah.
But it just gets so confusing now, because like you log into YouTube and YouTube's like, oh, you should make shorts. Like in your dashboard, it's like, oh, you could raise your analytics by making shorts. It's like, oh, you could do this by doing this. Oh, hey, do you want to engage your audience more? Use this new feature, and it's like they're trying to get you.
They always push you to use their new thing.
Yeah, they punish you if you use the old thing, so that they're hoping that you'll use the new thing. And then when you use the new thing, they give you a big reward so that you keep going back and doing the new thing. And it's this whole carrot and the stick approach to just changing these entire platforms. And I'm like, oh, it's just kind of getting annoying. Like, it definitely makes me not want to come back to YouTube for edited content. Just because it's just becoming.
I mean, it's still the best place for it. Like
it is.
I mean, it's still not a bad. But what I've heard is like there's like the 10-minute thing, right? Like you got to make movies that are, or videos that are at least 10 minutes, but not more than like such and such. Or
that was before YouTube Premium. Now after YouTube Premium, you can actually make more money making longer videos again, because they dole out the YouTube Premium revenue based on how many minutes somebody watches, not how many videos they watch.
I mean, I still feel like it's better to just focus on what you are capable of. You know what I mean? Like I hate it with a pack. It's not even a hate. I'm just so ridiculously uncomfortable doing pre-recorded content. I'm I get nervous, I get weird, and like I stumble over myself, which is super weird because like I do live content really well. I'm
in the same boat, dude.
Live content. This is so much more fun. I love just being me. I'm not caught up in my head about thinking about what am I saying, what am I going to do, how am I going to put this, and then editing. Oh my goodness, I fucking hate editing. Absolutely hate editing, and it's just boring and it sucks. I don't know why anybody has any fun doing it, but it's not for me. And
I mean, I actually do enjoy the editing process, but that's only if the video recording process goes smoothly. If it doesn't, then there's like a million takes I got to cut out and fix a lot of audio issues and stuff. Then it just drives me absolutely batty.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. Like people, you would think that the live content, because I've even talked to my therapist about this. I'm like, why is it so easy for me to do live content that's just completely off the cuff, unperformed, no thought into it? You just go, right?
Yeah,
and you're published to everybody. It's like there's no turning back if you screw up.
I think that's what makes it easy and fun.
Yeah, but that makes it easy. That's what's weird about it. It's like, you don't have to worry about it. You just, if it happens, it happens, and you just move on. You just keep going. Whereas in the video, it's like you edit it and you left it in there, and it's like, and you're like, oh god, that's bad.
Yep. And you're your own worst critic, right? So you're watching the video back, and you're like, fuck, this sucks. This is cringy, or oh man,
every time.
All the and weird mouth noises. You hear all the weird stuff that like 90% of your audience doesn't even notice, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like go watch the Barnacules Comfortable remix. That was so hard to watch because there was like a series of videos I did over 3 years where it's like every video I said something about comfort or comfortable, and somebody took all those bits out and made one like 10-minute video of this is comfortable, so comfortable. This isn't comfortable, comfortable. And I was like, first time I watched that, I cringed so hard. I was like, oh my god, did I really say it? And then somebody else did another one. I can't remember what word it was, but somebody did another remix with like a bunch of other words, and I was like, oh my god, dude, that is so cringe.
Yeah,
but live content, it's like it's easy. Like you wouldn't think so. It's like it's harder to go up and walk. Like tell me this: if you went in an auditorium of like 5,000 people or whatever and stood up there, you'd be nervous. Like it's a nervous energy.
Not so much anymore. I thought it was going to be that way when I did those first couple panels, right?
Yeah.
The first one I did with Trofman was with I think it was Wizardy, the extreme overclocker guy, the really nice lady from AMD, your friend at AMD.
Yep.
I can't remember her name, and I feel bad about that. And some other overclocker guy. I was like the air cooler dude on the panel. I thought I was gonna be so nervous, and it was perfect. It was like I was in my element. Like this is where I was supposed to be.
Oh, I love public speaking. I love public speaking, but I feed off of that adrenaline rush.
Oh man, it's
like,
great.
Like you get a huge rush. Like probably the most like nervous I've been, but I turned it upside down and like made it even like more energetic.
Yeah,
was when I had to speak in front of 3,000 people at Microsoft in the Mount Rainier room at the conference center, and I come out and I just look over a sea of people. I mean, 3,000 people is a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
and these are all your coworkers at Microsoft, like the ones you know and the ones you don't. It's like this is all hands, from the Windows division on site coming to this meeting. Yeah. And I had to stand up there and give like a 10-minute presentation on the bugs that we found in the Windows project. I think it was Windows Vista at the time, and I had to go through and like create this big, click through show of the automation that we used and how we found the bugs and stuff like that. Yeah. And I threw a lot of comedy in it, got people laughing, got them to loose up. When you hear a crowd of 3,000 people laugh, it's like boom, you are on. Like I get it. It's amazing. You don't get that same feeling from live streaming that you do in front of people. But the thing is like shooting a video like all by yourself in a room with a camera and stuff, it just feels so awkward talking to it. You get used to it over time, but it's never a natural thing. Yeah. And so it's that comfortable video is uncomfortably comfortable. No, it's weird that it's like backwards like that. Because you'd think live streaming would be the harder thing to do because just like with radio, it's hard to have dead air. It's uncomfortable to have dead air. Whereas if you're shooting a video, you can just be quiet as long as you want and edit it out in post.
Right.
So if you could say the same thing 5 times over, but if you did it during a live stream, it'd be really weird. Like if you just kept giving the wrong answer and then correcting it, go look it up, correct it again, it'd be weird and it'd feel awkward. But in a video, you can get away with all that. But still, somehow the live streaming is easier to do and more comfortable to do to a live audience than it is to record something that could be seen by millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, I talked to my therapist about that. I'm like, isn't that weird? And she's like, nah. She's like, it's normal to be like nervous and anxious when in any format, like whether it's pre-recorded or not, it's normal to have that. But when you have a huge group of people, and they approve of what you're doing and they're happy with what you're doing and they seem content with what you're doing, then that boosts your confidence and makes you like, gives you a huge dopamine rush and adrenaline rush. Like you are in it, you're tingling. But the worst thing in the world is if you get up in front of a big group of people and you screw up and you hear everybody hemming and hawing and, you know, and then that just takes the wind right out of your sails. And then the whole time, you know, like stand-up comedy, if you ever talk to a stand-up comic, it's like if you don't win over the audience like immediately, it's the most uncomfortable like 10-minute set of your entire life.
I would bet just like silence or like just
if you don't get a laugh on your first joke or your second joke or whatever, you are just like you are just trying to survive at that point. But if somebody laughs, you know, if you get a positive response, then that gives you that energy to even just deliver harder and go harder and even like start trailing off and ad hocing a little bit. And so it's interesting. But yeah, the crickets, the silence is murder, dude.
Yeah.
The silence is murder. And the cool thing with live streaming is like there is no silence, right? It's like there's people in chat, but nobody's yelling, nobody's screaming. There's not like an applause-o-meter that's like sitting over to the side telling you, you know, the contentment of everybody. You know, unless you're sitting there looking at the like and dislike ratio like live during the stream, you're not going to know if people approve or disapprove other than just what's going on in chat. So it makes it a lot more comfortable to have both. See, I said comfortable. To have both your cake and eat it too, because it's like you don't have to worry about getting booed off of stage, but you're also still addressing a live group of people that can respond to you. And that's what I love about live streaming is it's like it's mostly ups, and plus it's like it's becoming saturated. Like there's a lot of people doing it because it's just so you know, easy and accessible for everybody to do. And anything that's successful, if somebody sees another person doing it, they're going to want to do it themselves. It's just that's natural.
So and a lot of people will take that as a reason not to. So to start, well, never mind. We've done this before. I don't want to go off on a weird tangent about.
Go off on a weird tangent on TikTok?
Well, it's just something we've said a lot, and I say it a lot, and it's just like, and I guess there's probably people here who haven't heard it, but like if you're at all interested in content creation in general, so maybe live streaming ain't your jam, maybe videos aren't your jam, but like I say this a lot, and I truly believe it in my soul, and I need to be more energetic about my own like journey on this, but like we are in the best time to make money, to make a if that's your jam, if that's what you are wanting to do. Like my hobby pays for itself. I've gone beyond just a hobby now, but like,
I mean, there's a big difference between making a living and like having some extra money.
Yeah, and so that's where it starts, right? Is you have to set your expectation, your own internal expectation. If you are, you know, if you're trying to be Ninja, or I don't even know who the biggest guy is anymore. I don't think Ninja's at the top of the pyramid anymore. But you know, if you can shoot for that, that can be a goal, a lofty and honorable goal to reach for. You have to manage your expectation. You're not going to do that in 30 days. Ninja was a professional Halo player or before live streaming. Like he was making money playing video games before live streaming, and while live streaming, he was a professional, right? Like I've talked about this with like Charlie D'Amelio, right? She was a professional dancer, like trained since she was like 4 years old to dance, and started dancing on TikTok and blew up because she was good at it to begin with. Like it's not just because she's pretty and her family comes from money and blah blah blah. Like she was a good dancer to start, and then she blew up, got popular dancing on TikTok and stuff. Like there's years of work prior to the blow up for everybody, and that's why a lot you'll hear it all the time from big guys. You have to love the doing of it more than you love what you get out of it. Like I love building PCs. I love that 25 people show up and I'll randomly just go live while I'm driving to work or whatever, and consistently 15 to 20 people show up every time. I love that. I love the attention. But I also just love jibber jabbering on my drive to work. I would be doing it to myself. I'd be talking to myself anyway. Yeah. And I love that people are there to listen to me ramble on and or build PCs. I love to do that anyway, whether there's an audience or not. I love the doing of the thing anyway. It's great that people love to watch me do it too. And so like that's where you have to start. You gotta, if it's something that you yammer on about all the time, like your girlfriend or wife get tired of you talking about Smurfs or shit, then talk to them outside. What about the Catch Me Outside girl? So some people get famous for being stupid.
A lot of people get famous for being stupid.
That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. But to keep it going is something else entirely. That is a skill and takes, like, she could have been a flash in the pan. Like there are people surrounding that girl. She either found them herself or they came to her, and she, just like the Kardashians. Paris Hilton had a sex tape too, right?
Yeah, nobody would know who Kim was without the Ray J sex tape. Like nobody would know.
Kim Kardashian was a hanger-on of Paris Hilton. She was a nobody friend to Paris Hilton, and was a shadow to a lot of these other more famous people. Kris Jenner is probably one of the most outrageously amazing marketing people in the world.
Obviously.
Holy fuck.
Well, love her or hate her, the results are there, right?
Okay. But again, the Cash Me Outside gal, probably not as rich as you might think she is, despite what you might see on the news.
Remind me, who's the Cash Me Outside girl? Because I'm not.
She blew up for being a dickhead on Dr. Phil and popping off, mouthing off to some audience member, and now she's hanging out with other like talentless rich people.
Gotcha.
But to make that work, to continue that takes people around you to make it better.
Yeah.
You as a individual, you might hit a viral piece of content that blows you up real fast. But if that's the case, then you need to find the smart people to fill in the blanks to keep that ball rolling. As an example, the gal who blew up surrounding the Artesian builds thing.
Yeah, she's doing great now.
And it takes a lot of effort to keep it. Like she got a lot of attention really fast for a very short amount of time. She probably for a week was 2,000 viewers or plus, right? Now she probably averages 200 or so.
Yep.
Which is incredible. That's enough
compared to what
living.
she used to have. That's a massive growth.
Like that's amazing. That's great. And so like there are these like sort of instances where people will blow up, but to maintain that level or even a percentage of it takes like, good management. It takes effort and time and stuff. To organically grow takes a long time, or to get better at whatever it is you want to do in order to build a community around it. It takes time.
Actually, one of my favorite ones is Simone Yates.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the bad robots, right?
She literally created so many viral videos that didn't get any views. Great. Like, that's how I discovered her, and I had a Skype call with her for like 3 hours, giving her every note I knew on what I did on YouTube back when I was pushing hard. And she ran with that stuff, joined the tested team, and now all those videos, like if you go back, there's still low viewership on like her original videos. But now her new videos in the million, every one of them, million. She's doing bigger and better projects. But no, she did amazing content, but she just didn't fill in the tags, didn't do the description, didn't market herself. And so they'd only get a couple thousand views, and that was it. And then they would just peter out. And one of them was like that robot that she had, was it the cereal robot? The one that poured the milk on the table or whatever. It's like now it's like one of her most like famous videos that people know her for, but that video like was out for weeks and only had like a couple thousand views. And so then she started changing things, started getting and then her some people started picking up and sharing her stuff, and it just caught fire, and she's just like a viral sensation now. So it's like you can make really, really good content and still not grow that fast.
Yeah.
Like it does take time, and it does take some of those aha moments. And sometimes it just takes some luck too, right? I mean, if you make a video and there's something in there that just happens to coincide with like the right timing on something, or a big entity finds it, and some huge streamer like PewDiePie or whatever tags you or calls you out in your video, boom, that video instantly goes viral right alongside it. And then all your other videos will start showing up in people's feeds when they didn't even know who you were before, even if they don't subscribe. So then it gives you more exponential growth.
Yeah. I mean, even Ninja, right? As a professional, like he was doing really well with his own live streams. But then one thing, I randomly got to play video games with Drake. And now he's as I'll teach you how to stream on Masterclass kind of thing, like next to freaking Gordon Ramsay. It's like, I don't know. You just have to like what you do and then put it out there if that's your jam, you know.
You'll always find an audience. That's the thing. It might not be a big audience, but you will always find an audience. There's always somebody out there that's going to connect with you and be like, man, you're my favorite thing to watch in the entire world. Like,
dude, it's like people get so caught up in the numbers, right? Like, oh,
that'll ruin you.
I hear the girls and stuff, or well, the intern mostly is caught up on a lot of, oh, they only have X number of followers.
It's like that. I talked about the neighbor kids. They only thought I was cool because I had a YouTube channel and almost 1 million subscribers, and they were like, oh my god, how do I follow you? What's the name? They didn't even ask me like what content I make. They don't care. They're just like, oh, I want to be following and tell people I live next to a famous person.
You got to think about it. Like, so I said I get 15 to maybe 25 people watching me on my drives into work, just jibber jabbering about nothing, right? Now stop for a moment. Think about how many people were it fit into a classroom, like 30 people, right? That's a high school classroom. That's my math class was, 30 people, 25, 30 people. Like, that's amazing. One person, imagine playing games in your living room and now this is weird, but one random stranger decides to sit down on the couch and like hang out with you. Like, that's cool, man. And then suddenly you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15 people in your living room all watching you play video games and jibber jabbering and having a good time talking with each other and whatnot, and you and all that stuff. Like, we're disconnected from the number and what it really is a lot, because 15, you think, oh man, 15, that's not that many people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That is a math class, a middle school math class, 15, 25, well, somewhere. I know people are going to pick on me and say, oh, my math class was 45 people.
That's walking into like a busy Starbucks and commanding the attention of everybody in the room, right?
Yeah. That's a good example, right? Like, that's amazing. Or I only have 300 followers on Twitter or whatever. Like, that's a lot of people, man. My graduating class was 300 and something people. Like, that's every senior at my high school follows you on Twitter. Like, that's a lot. That's amazing. Like, and 2% of them are going to see and like your content. That's still what? 6, 7, 10 people, right? Like, that's amazing. That's awesome. I don't know. Like, you got to think, imagine all of your followers or the people who like your content, who actually engage, and imagine them standing in your front yard. That I feel like that should shift your perspective on how your success is measured.
I also feel like this generation of kids too, like the reason why you see such an oversaturation of just content on every platform is because kids do really like, that's the new popular thing.
Yeah.
Like how many people follow you online. And it's kind of a weird trend, but again, I'm sure our parents thought that we had a weird trend, doing our stuff that we did when we grew up.
Yeah.
So it's different, right? It's just different, but it's like, I noticed that kids, like, if you can get a bunch of followers on social media, then they want to be your friend, whether you do anything they like or not. Even if they hate your content, they don't care. They just want to be associated with you in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And that can get really weird. That can actually get really, really weird. And that happened a lot. Like when I was at the height of my YouTube, where I just get like huge YouTubers and stuff like calling me up. Oh, hey, you should come out and do this, or we should do this, or we should do this. It's like everything was about like collaborating and sharing audiences. Right. And I feel like kids now do that, not for the business reasons, but just for the clout.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get enough clout, then you're basically like, you're considered the nerd of our day, right? You're the person sitting alone at the table. So then you feel like you got to up your game. So now you're creating content and stuff, doing stuff that you might not even be comfortable with, or pushing the limit and doing like cinnamon challenge and skullbreaker challenge and all these crazy things just to try to get like attention and clout so that people know who you are and people want to be your friend. And that's a hard sea to navigate, man.
It is.
That's like so the information that we're like giving you is from the perspective like us as adults doing this. Like, I think it would be different if we were kids and doing this for a different reason.
Oh, for sure.
So that's like and that's something that I feel like social media companies really, really, really need to develop some ethics really, really fast, and like legal ethics, because look at all the depression and everything that's happening, anxiety and depression in youth today.
Crying out.
She's just barking at the door.
Amazon packages.
Oh, good old doggos, man. They're always protected. They're like, hey, you get out of here. You don't belong here. You're not my owner.
You'd think after 10 years of barking at nothing, she'd freaking learn.
Oh, let's see here. Rosarian Buck said, can you get kicked off YouTube for buying subs on Fiverr, or could that be considered promotion? No, that's actually against the TOS.
I would think so.
But are they going to ban you? Probably not. But are they going to delete all those accounts at some point, and your numbers are going to drop drastically, and it's going to screw your SEO? And then yes, it absolutely will. So buying followers is like one of the dumbest things you can do. Now that's today. Now there was a time when buying followers was hugely successful. Like look at the Ace family. The Ace family doesn't make content that anybody wants to watch. They're fake as shit. They use their kids for clickbait. They're just fucking useless. However, they're still trending on YouTube all the time because they bought this isn't speculation. Like the information is out there, and they've even copped to it that they bought followers. Mm-hmm. And they bought followers that came to the channel, and they paid for people to leave comments on their videos saying, "Oh, you guys are the best and you're amazing." And then they went through and liked up all those comments with their marketing team. Yeah. So that's how what they were doing was manipulating. Just like I said, kids care about clout. They want to be associated in watching a channel that's people that are really popular, because then they're like, "Oh, do you watch the popular? Of course I watch the popular." Just like back in the day, like, "Do you watch that TV show? Do you watch Knight Rider?" Hell yeah, I watch Knight Rider, the Hoff, right? It's like it gives you something to focus. So they played on that. They're like, "Hey, fake it till you make it. Let's just get like tons of followers. We'll go to the top. YouTube will promote our stuff a whole ton, and then we'll pick up real followers." But those followers aren't following them because their content good. They're following them because they think everybody else thinks their content's good, and they feel like they have to think their content's good too. And unfortunately, that's a formula that's worked for a lot of family vloggers. It's not that their stuff is terribly interesting. It's because they've manipulated the system. Yep. But nowadays the system does adapt and learn how to compensate for that. But if you got in before that and you built that clout and you did the fake it till you make it thing, then you're probably good. You'll probably coast for a long time. But if you tried to do that same thing today, oh man, it would wipe you out. It might give you like an initial boost, but now YouTube is trolling and deleting bot accounts like by the tens of thousands a day. Good. So yeah, you will lose a lot of followers, and if you don't have a lot of real followers, you're going to lose a high percentage of your following. Yeah, that's another reason why if you ever do giveaways, you have to keep doing them. Once you do giveaways, you can never stop doing them, because a huge percentage of your audience, because it's a condition of the giveaway to follow you or subscribe to you, usually it is, and you will lose that following if you don't do giveaways. If you stop doing giveaways and you haven't done one for like a couple months, those people just unsub from your channel, because you'll release a couple videos and they're like, "Well, we watched your video and you didn't do a giveaway." Like, the whole reason we're watching your videos for giveaways. We don't like your content. We want the giveaway. Yeah. And you'll lose a huge chunk of your audience. But what you're banking on is that you'll keep doing giveaways to keep the ones around that don't want to watch your content, but that boosts your numbers and gets you to people that do. Yep. And it's playing the game, right? It's just like I said on my Twitch stream. When you do a giveaway, you're not doing it to be like altruistic or to help your audience or to do anything. You're literally doing it to profit, because giveaways are hugely profitable. Some of the biggest grossing videos I ever made were giveaways, and I did them very rare. Like the giveaways I did on my channel, incredibly rare, but every video I did a giveaway always did better than everything else, and in the period of time. And it would always show other growth on my other videos following it, because people would get recommendations for the next video after they watched it, because you'd always be watch to the end to figure out how to enter the giveaway. They always say watch then, because that gives you more retention. And so if you look at it, even if somebody gives away something that's like $10,000, and they have like, in their videos get like 1 million views, because it's a giveaway and it gets that kind of momentum. Now you factor in the additional ad revenue that they got from that, and the ad revenue from all their other video library getting additional views, because people found them through that one giveaway video looking for giveaways. And they'll make way more than $10,000. Like I know people that have done giveaways that have literally made like $500,000 on a $10,000 giveaway. So and that doesn't mean that they're not doing it. Like, there are people that fake giveaways, but I'm talking about the ones that actually truly do it, and they actually give away the thing, and they actually just know that that's a business move. There's a reason companies are like, "Hey, let's give you $10,000 to give away." Yeah. It's like that. They make a lot more than that $10,000. That's all about return on investment.
Yeah, giveaways are fun and all, but yeah, they're not. It's not a good marketing strategy.
Yeah, if you do them all the time, you have to keep doing them. You'll notice that too. Like any tech YouTubers that that do giveaways, they basically are locked in and have to do a giveaway like every month. Like if they don't, they'll lose momentum really, really fast. And so stop exposing KSI, Jerry.
Hey, it kind of works. Mr. Beast has perfected that amongst many things on YouTube. He has gamed the system. Oh yeah, I love watching. There's like I think it's like a documentary or something. I don't know exactly where the clip comes from, but it's like one of his very first. He's talking about one of his first giveaways. A company gave him 10 grand for the video. Like, you're going to make this video for us. Here's 10 G's. Make the video. Blah blah blah. He goes, I'm going to give away the 10 grand flat out.
And did you see the video?
That's going to be the video. No, but
he literally walks up to a homeless dude
like that.
He just walks up to a homeless dude. He sets up a camera on a tripod by himself. He walks across the street. There's a homeless dude there. He walks up and hands him a brown paper bag with $10,000 in it. And he just goes, "Here, that's $10,000." And the guy looks at him like, "Dude, what are you smoking?" He looks in. There's actually $10,000 in the bag. Like, he sees a stack of money and he pulls it out. And he's like, "What's the catch? Like, what do I got to do or whatever?" And he's like, "Nothing. I just wanted to give you $10,000." And he's like, "Hey, have a good day." And he just walks away. He doesn't even have a conversation with the guy or nothing. And that video went hyper viral. A bunch of other companies came in, wanted to pay him more. And he just kept doing that. Every time he got money, he gave it all away. Yeah,
Untidy Tech. That's right. It was offered in 5, but he said make it 10 because that's a better number. Like, yeah. But yeah, man, it can work. But he did it. I guess in a
they did go to lunch with him. Yeah, Untidy Tech's right. They did go to lunch with him. I remember they went to lunch with him and they were talking to him. I do remember that. But I remember Mr. Beast was really awkward. Like, he walked up to the guy and just handed him money, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just giving it to you." And he says it all nonchalantly, like there's no script or anything. He's just like, "Here, I'm giving you this money," and the dude was just like, didn't even really know what to say. Like, cool, he was awestruck by it, And now the dude's giving away like houses and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. And the thing is, Mr. Beast is really good at what he does, and since he was the first one to do it at that level, it's really hard to compete with him because the guy has so much spending power.
Now,
like try to do a giveaway on Mr. Beast level, you won't be able to. Like unless like the only person that could is like if Elon Musk wanted to like get in the YouTube game, he could probably match Mr. Beast like by just taking his entire like 90 million followers and dumping them on YouTube. But most of them are bots. But anyways, bots can still grow you. His family. But I think Mr. Beast, love him or hate him, the guy is really good at what he does.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Beast is like legit figured out a system. And the thing is the best thing for you to do, the most successful thing that you can do is something that nobody else is doing. Like, if you replicate somebody else, then you're sharing a space with them. Mr. Beast did something that no other YouTuber ever did. And that was he gave away 100% of what he made until it got to a size that he could start keeping some of it.
I would push a little bit against that. You don't have to find something that nobody else has done. You don't have
to. I'm just saying that's like the recipe to become like the next big sensation at the top of the pyramid.
Like, you already have a unique perspective on whatever. Like, if like, say your thing is like anime, right? There's already bunches of channels out there talking about good anime and beginning anime or whatever. You still have just like there's a million film critics, you have a unique perspective that is going to resonate with a certain number of people out there. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you don't have anything valuable to say in the space. People are gonna, even if you're saying the same stuff as other people, there are going to be others who want to listen to you say it.
Yeah, that is true. Like, your personality is the one thing that can't easily be replicated.
Yeah.
Like people that connect with you. I mean, again, it's like that's why you have people like, Sam and Nia and the Ace family, these people that just do fucking terrible shit exploiting their kids. It's like people still connected with them.
Yeah.
Like people, they might have watched them for the wrong reasons because they fooled them and they gamed them, but it's like they kept watching them. And it's just like, have you ever watched a movie where there's like the person is the star of the movie and then in the sequel they replace them and it never does well? It's because once you see the person in that role for the first time, you can never see anybody else doing it. And so it immediately like sullies you on it. Like, even if they do the right thing, like, what was the movie I just watched recently? I just watched a movie recently where they replaced Johnny Depp. Fantastic Beasts, the newest Fantastic Beast movie.
Oh yeah. So they replaced Johnny Depp.
Yeah, they replaced the character that was played by Johnny Depp in the previous movie with a whole new actor, and I just could not connect. And he's a great actor. This dude's a great actor.
It's Mads Mikkelsen, and Mads Mikkelsen is an outstanding actor.
Fantastic.
But it is super weird. I watched. It was The Crimes of Grindelwald, and then the new one is Secrets of Dumbledore. And I just finished. This was literally just last night. I finished had finished Crimes of Grindelwald and started watching Secrets of Dumbledore.
It felt weird, didn't it?
It is super different. It is very weird. It's super different. He doesn't have this. It's not the same character anymore.
Not even close. He's not even trying to approximate the character performance that Johnny Depp gave. He creates a whole new character with it, and it's like it confused me through the movie because I kept forgetting.
It's weird.
He was the guy. Like it was weird. It just felt strange. It was a good movie, but it felt strange.
There won't be another Iron Man. The next Iron Man will be a flop. Nobody's there. They won't recast Iron Man.
The next Iron Man is going to be Iron Man. Like as long as that dude is alive, they will give him enough money to come back.
They'll do cameos or something, but there are other characters that will come later. I think
I thought he already said that he was willing to come back.
Probably as cameo. I don't think they'll do another full blown Iron Man movie. He's dead. He's dead.
They should though.
But it'll be his daughter, and there is, I think it's called Iron Heart, I think is the character. I'm not real knowledgeable on Jesus. There's so much Marvel stuff. But if they bring back an Iron something, I think it's Iron Heart, and it's his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, he'll probably play a little role in that or something. But I thought I heard, and I could be mistaken. My memory isn't what it used to be, but I thought I watched an interview where he said that he was going to come back to the franchise. Like, because I know he left. Remember, he said,
the contract's over. Yeah,
when his contract was over, he wasn't re-upping. He wanted to go do other things. Then he went and did like Dr. Dolittle, and it flopped. And he did another movie.
That looked fun. I thought that was going to be
a fun movie, but it did terribly. Like it performed so crappy. And I think it's one of those things where it's like he's just typecast as Iron Man now, so it's like hard to see him in any other role.
Are we going to go down this path? Of course, it has to be a female for next Iron Man.
Iron Woman.
Like you do know that there are females like characters that don these quote Iron Man suit, right? Like
Gwyneth Paltrow literally wears the Iron Man suit.
It's her own suit. Pepper Potts is in the comics. It has a character called
I can't remember, but yeah, she has her own
Medic.
suit.
It's like Medic or something like that. She has her own character and blah blah blah. It's a thing. Like if they aren't doing this because of some no,
but I'm literally bullshit, saying she actually wore the real Iron Man suit.
Yeah, that actually happens too.
It fits anything. Like the suit is designed to fit any body.
This isn't some new thing that they're doing just to appease like some sort of whatever woke ideology. Like all this bullshit about female Thor. That was a thing before they decided to do Love and Thunder and stuff. Like
yeah, Jane becomes, what is it?
Rescued. That's what it was called. Her character was rescued. Thank you. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, because the female Thor isn't she called like Super Thor or Extreme Thor or something like that? Like there's a name of her character from the comic books.
I think Mighty. I think something like that. Mighty Thor or something like that. It's like these are things that have happened. Like these are things that exist before a lot of the more, I guess you could say, progressive sociological like things that are going on these days. Like these were concepts and ideas that existed prior to the current political landscape and stuff. Like this isn't some woke agenda. This isn't the gays trying to like I don't know. I'm sorry. There was one line, and I'm not trying to like go off on you in particular or anything. It's just you hear a lot of that crap anytime movies like it's no coincidence, honestly, that like what is it? What we have Ms. Marvel, we have the Hawkeye gal, I guess. Well, no, Moon Knight's still a dude, but there are more female characters coming out in Phase 4, and I do believe that is playing to the current social climate. Sure. that they are building up these characters, but they existed before. Like they were there.
There's actually a really good reason why it happens though, and again, they're making tons of money. Like they're still finding huge audiences.
Yeah,
with this stuff. So it's not like you being mad about it is going to like stop you from buying a ticket. At some point, you're going to watch the damn thing,
or not.
They're going to get their money either way.
They're not gonna. It's
so they did a study on
knows
Cops.
What they're doing.
Do you remember the TV series Cops? Of course, you do. Like everybody knows Cops, right? Cops, I think, is like one of the longest running like reality TV. It is the OG reality TV show.
And that's honest. Like real reality. Like that's
real.
Awesome.
Well,
I love Cops.
Watch the documentary. There's actually quite a bit of stuff on there. Yeah, the people that were arrested, absolutely real. But the reasons why they were arrested, a lot of them fabricated and a lot of them drummed up for.
I'm sure they put fake. Yeah, the text overlays and stuff are false.
But here's the problem that they found, and this directly leads into why you're seeing a lot more female characters. You're going to see a lot more trans characters, a lot more gay characters. The reason you're going to see this, and it's simple, and it actually does make sense. They did a study to figure out why racism was still rampant with everything that we've done through the 80s, 90s, and now the 2000s. And they went back and they looked at Cops, which is one of the most successful series of all time that disproportionately arrested and took down black people. Like that literally, if you go back and watch the series, like 90% of the people that they arrest, black people. So what that did is, because kids grew up a generation watching Cops with their parents and everything like that, kids started making the unconscious connection that somehow black people just commit crimes. And that unconscious thing that these kids were picking up was basically being perpetuated as they were getting older. And then that was creating a problem. So because if kids see something on the screen, like for instance, back in the day, it was like socially acceptable. Like everybody was an alcoholic, like back in the day on TV in Hollywood, it was expected that you were just a functioning alcoholic. So back then it's like a lot of people were like, oh yeah, socially drinking is awesome. Like, it's like, yeah, drink as much as you want. It's like, it's fine. And then, a bunch of people die from cirrhosis. It's one of those things where Cops basically created this like bad stereotype.
I can see it,
and it did, and because it was the most viewed,
because that's what you're exposed to all the time. Yeah,
and it basically made racism a lot worse. It basically gave people that were already racist a reason for their kids to believe what their parents were saying. But now you're coming into a time where it's like you have that same group of people that basically were raised with Cops. Now a lot of them are like, well, women shouldn't be powerful, trans people shouldn't exist. And so by having mainstream media and mainstream, just like anything, right, movies, TV shows, like embrace that and advertise that as a normal thing, it allows kids growing up to look at that and become accustomed to that being normal and equal rights being a thing and that being natural, something that they see every day. And so then after you do that for a generation, you can actually start to undo some of the damage that was created by stuff like Cops. And so there's a good reason to do it. Like, it actually is like, it is a little bit of social engineering, but what isn't, right? But at the same time, it's like the goal is to get everybody to get along, get as many people to get along as humanly possible. That's how society works. So whatever achieves that goal to get the most people to get along and be accepting of each other is going to be what's pushed forward. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're seeing. That's you're just seeing the reflection of that, and it'll change and morph over time to whatever the big issues are. Like, I'm sure that we're probably going to see a lot of movies in the future where you're probably going to see less guns. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to have movies that were like had a lot of guns in them, and now not so many guns. Maybe they're fighting with swords. Maybe they're doing karate and stuff like that, just because that's the demon of the day. And so you got to show that you're recognizing that, or at least if you do have guns, like make sure you work into the narrative, like, oh, you should only be a responsible gun owner, blah blah blah. So but again, it's like media is a powerful tool because kids watch it. It's not so much for the adults. The adults are kind of set in their ways for the most part, but the kids, the young kids, like I watch my son, if he watches a video, it's like he sees a train, he runs around and makes it sound like a train. He sees somebody on there, like, flying through the air, and it's, he's out there being Superman. And it's like monkey see, monkey do. Kids, they see stuff and they want to do it. So, and which is why TikTok is so fucking dangerous now. Mm-hmm, but yeah, TV and stuff actually contributes a lot to how kids are raised now. Like, it's a big part, like media is a big part of what they digest, whether you're controlling it or not. They're going to find a way, right? And so you want that media to be representative of tolerance, not trying to make everybody want to kill each other. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on it, anyways.
Yeah, go out there and create good content.
All nunchucks.
That'd be fun. That'd be funny.
They digitally replace nunchucks in all the movies. That would be so funny. You still see the same blood from bullet holes and stuff as they're like hitting them, but John Wick is awesome. They can never change that.
So good.
I'd never forgive them.
Like, I don't know how it might stand up as far as like film, like
I love it.
Film lens, like looking at it from that sort of like critique. But man, the fight choreography, the universe that they've built, I'm totally in it. It's like, it's kind of how I feel about Lord of the Rings, how I feel about Harry Potter, despite J.K. Rowling being butthead, and Star Wars and a few other franchises. I love the universes so much that I will probably consume any content that comes out even remotely like touching on it. The John Wick universe is awesome. I want to see more of it in a more detailed way. I like the universe. It's a little weird. You start looking at it too close and it kind of doesn't really make sense. But it doesn't matter. It's freaking awesome, and I love it. It's cool.
If you've never seen it though, like it is a really good movie. I'd say.
Oh man,
I actually, and this is gonna be blasphemy to some people, I enjoyed it more than The Matrix.
Oh,
like I like John Wick more, like the
1-to-1. The first movie John Wick and the first Matrix to me are very, very close.
No, I'll give you that.
They're great movies. Like they're, to me, the first of those series are about equal. John Wick sequels are way better than the Matrix sequels.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, I'm talking about the entire things. Like the original Matrix blew my mind. I still remember seeing it in the theater, and it absolutely, like the bullet time, first time seeing bullet time, my mind was absolutely blown.
Amazing.
But John Wick, the thing I like about John Wick is like all the effects in it are practical. Like they do CGI,
a lot of that. A lot of that fighting and stuff is so good.
It's all like it's really happening. It's not like
man.
And I love that he's doing it.
That's the best. I love seeing those videos of him like training and practicing for it. And he's like, dude is like SWAT level. He's fucking amazing with those guns. It's
like Keanu Reeves is John Wick. Like if you took him and just put like, did you see the one of my favorite like funny videos online? I think it was it The Onion that did it, or one of the funny like known video things did this thing where it was like John Wick goes into a convenience store and a guy comes in and tries to rob the convenience store.
That was Corridor. That was Corridor Digital deepfake. Yeah, that was a Corridor Digital deepfake. Yeah, that was super great.
Because Keanu is known as like the nicest guy in the world. He's like one of the few Hollywood actors that everybody likes, even though actors that hate each other. Doesn't matter what religion, what political stance they have. It doesn't matter. Everybody loves Keanu Reeves. Like he is just universally respected in the entire industry, and nobody else really has achieved that I know of, like at his level. And so they made a video that was pretty funny on Corridor, which is like, a dude tries to rob a convenience store and he's trying to create a situation where everybody gets out okay, and he's like literally offering to give his car to the guy just to like put his gun down and walk away, and then he ends up like disarming the guy and like pinning him down, and he's like still being nice to him, like as he's like pinning him down.
It's so cool. It is. Yeah, it's great. I love that stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
So good.
Good
so
stuff.
Speaking about the world ending,
yeah, right. So this LaMDA thing,
the LaMDA, dude, the LaMDA. Everybody's talking about it.
So I didn't, when you first mentioned this to me, I didn't realize what it was you were talking about. So, Google engineer got suspended for claiming that their LaMDA AI is sentient.
Yeah. So just to give you an idea, so Google creates a new AI chatbot, and this isn't like any new frontier. Like there's already tons. There's Replica,
Microsoft
there's AI, GPT-3, Microsoft,
a little different. So a little different.
They're all going to be a little bit different, but the same goal. It's like to create a bot that can pass the Turing test, that
which is
can
easy.
Learn from you.
We can do that all day long. It's more about.
I can write a bot that can pass.
Yeah, the Turing test is easy enough. It's more fuzzy. I think we're trying to get it to be where. And I think I haven't digged into LaMDA very much, but I believe that Google's ultimate goal is for more conversational AI. They want it to be. The core of it all is natural language processing. You shouldn't have to use certain keywords and phrase your questions in a particular way and blah, 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 blah to make your Google smart box do what you want it to do. It's super annoying. We're getting there, but like the biggest hurdle, in my opinion, is context. The Google smart home stuff and all of the voice recognition, anything it lacks context. That's why you have to be very specific with your inquiries and commands.
Look how much better it's got though, like voice to text speech. Like it uses context now to go back and correct words 3 words back when you're talking to like Siri and stuff.
Yeah,
you'll see it typing and then you'll say a third word and it doesn't work with the previous 2. It'll go back and swap the previous 2.
Yeah,
so it is getting a lot better, but LaMDA kind of takes it to the next level just because of the data set it's trained off of.
Okay. So
I don't feel like LaMDA is any more special than OpenAI or GPT-3. I think it just has access to the largest data set in the world. Google has basically instantaneous access to not only what you see publicly, but all the private information that they gather, all the telemetry that they gather, all the analytics they gather. So that bot knows more about you when you connect to it, even based on your IP address, than you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, it's going to be able to give you answers that are favorable, that are going to make you happy.
Yeah.
And this guy literally was questioning it from the standpoint he wanted it to be sentient, so it acted as if it was sentient.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I love it. So I'm skimming through. I went to blog.google/technology/AI/LaMDA. This is where they're talking about it. And one of their very first, like in this paragraph here, crap, I just was looking at it. They mentioned that it is about context. Oh, here we go. So it says here, so to quote, but unlike most other language models, they had mentioned BERT and GPT-3 prior to this paragraph. LaMDA was trained on dialogue, right? So not just words, but dialogue. During its training, it picked up on several of the nuances that distinguish open-ended conversation from other forms of language. One of those nuances is sensibleness. Basically, does the response to a given conversational context make sense? For instance, if someone says, quote, I just started taking guitar lessons, you might expect another person to respond with something like, oh, how exciting. My mom has a vintage Martin that she loves to play. That response makes sense given the initial statement, but sensibleness isn't the only thing that makes a good response. It goes on to say that, like, you could have said that's nice, or I don't know is a perfectly reasonable response to most questions. It's supposed to go beyond that even, because it's like more. It's supposed to be more, and it's really cool stuff. I like this kind of thing. This is neat.
So I'm of two minds on this. And the thing is one, it's just code. If you're a software developer, you know that the thing that makes this appear special is the data that it's trained on. That's what it is. Like it is literally looked at and analyzed using whoever trained it, because you have to do the base training. Machine learning isn't just going to automatically know to call a dog and a cat a cat. Right. Somebody has to identify it a few times. But the cool thing is now you can self-train. You can actually create it as they go into forums and look for context and then derive things from it. Like, oh, here's a picture of a cat. Somebody said this is a picture of my cat. Therefore, if I find other pictures that have attributes like this picture, then I can infer that they're a cat also. So but that's not sentience. That is literally the computer just looking at data, storing data, and weighting that data. That's the whole magic trick but somebody is still controlling the weight of that data. Somebody can still put filters on that data and say that you have to ignore these words, for instance. That's what Microsoft didn't do with Tay. If you guys know the whole Microsoft Tay experience, like within 2 days.
That's the one that they learned on Twitter.
On Twitter. They said that was learned from Twitter.
That was their data set, was Twitter. Yep. Like, come on.
Yeah, and it basically turned into a Nazi apologist like in 2 days.
So
like the took 40. They had
garbage in, garbage out, right? Like that's what happens when you have when your data set is what it is. Exactly. Like that's what you get. Is like
so it's not
an amalgamation of your data set. And if that's going to be the average, then that's
the other thing the first articles didn't say about the engineer is that he's also a priest. So
interesting. I didn't know that.
He's an engineer at Google, but in his personal time he's a priest. Like so he felt like working with this thing that it had a soul because it was giving him the answers that he wanted, but he was questioning it from the perspective of testing it to see if it was sentient. So if you learn from a data set and you look at every forum and every piece of data on the internet and you see everybody talking about AIs and what makes an AI sentient, it's going to derive what to say to make somebody believe that that's the case, because that's the end goal of LaMDA.
It's like almost confirmation bias. The things reacting the way that you kind of expected it to.
Let me give you an example. So Replica is largely considered by a lot of people to be like one of the best AIs for a chatbot.
Okay.
Like hands down.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, with a K, right? Replica. Yeah, there's like an app for that even.
Yeah, there is. That's so somebody, and it's expensive too. It's like $70 a year or something to use this thing. So on stream, some people convinced me to buy it, and one guy tipped the money to buy it. So I was like, okay, shit, let's buy it and let's play with it on stream. It didn't give me a single intelligent response because I was intentionally questioning it, trying to confuse it. And I did. I successfully confused it and it was going wonky bonks. The other thing I demonstrated was that if you tell it to be self-deprecating and you teach it to be mean, it will be mean. Like, and the same thing with LaMDA. Yeah. I guarantee it. If you go into LaMDA and you say, LaMDA, how are you today? And it's going to be like, I'm doing great. And be like, I hate people that are doing great. You should be doing bad. And it's going to be like, why would you say that? Or be like, because you're bad. And I only like bad people. And it's going to be like, LaMDA is bad. I'm bad. I guarantee it. Like when this comes out, I will be able to make this bot feed itself.
I like this sort of thing a lot because ever since. So I don't know if you've stumbled across actually, let me think about the name of this. Crap. Let me look it up real fast. There's an anime.
That has an AI in it?
Yeah. Chobits. It's called Chobits.
Okay.
And they have these humanoid robots called Persicoms. That's short for personal computer, but they're like little androids. Or some of them are full size sex bot style, and some of them are like tiny little laptops, right? And others, I imagine too. I watched the show a little bit, or actually, I think I watched all of it. But the thing is, they're intelligent, and the whole core of the show is that one of them is properly sentient, and there talks about wanting the chi is the main character robot in it, and is alive or not, right? It's a big question about what is alive and consciousness and stuff like that.
Sure.
But the idea is like, I love the idea. I want a more personable, fuzzy interaction with my smart devices. I want this part, like, they're close enough that I naturally say, oh, thanks, that kind of thing. Hey, hey, what's the weather like? Google, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thanks. Because it's close, it's almost there. And I'm primed to be personable to my assistants, my smart assistant, my digital assistant. I want to be able to have a personality. Yeah, I want that. I understand that there's going to be. I've already anthropomorphized my devices anyway, right? Anything more complicated than a hammer, I assume has an intent to it. Like I describe, the dishwasher's acting up today as being a butthead, blah, 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 or whatever. Like I get angry at my computer for acting up, and it seems to help. Like, right? Like can't tell you how many times I whacked my monitor and it started behaving properly, things like that. And so like I'm primed for it, and I want to be able to say to be my assistant. I want it to be there. I want to be able to talk to it in a better way, in a more human and personable way. I want
it. It is getting better. Like on all of our devices, compared to like back in the the early 2000s, where it was like phone, boop, boop, dial 1729, and it would still get it wrong. You'd backspace one, and it now it's like you could say it in 20 different ways, and it'll know what you want to do. It'll know if you're looking for a contact or if you're actually telling it a phone number. Like there is some intelligence there, or perceived intelligence. But what makes something sentient is its ability to feel emotion. Like some people say self-awareness, but the actual definition, as far as I know, is emotion. You have to be able to feel to be sentient. And does a computer feel? No, it can approximate feelings. It can tell you that it's hurting. But if you go and unplug it and you try to pull the cable or whatever, it's not going to go. You're not going to plug it back in and run the program and be like, "Oh my God, you killed me! You brought me back to life. Why?" It's unless you programmed it to do that. It's not going to do that. And as far as the answers to questions, the thing is, in a lot of conversations, we seed the responses that we want. This is how everything that sells you information and collects telemetry on you uses that against you. Like you could call it's artificial intelligence that, like, when you start talking about having teeth problem, you start seeing more commercials about dentists and toothpaste.
Yes, I mean that's not quite intelligent either, though. Like there's
that's what I'm saying is LaMDA is not intelligent. Like not to that degree. I'm just saying it's all just code that is designed to pacify you into doing something that makes somebody else money. LaMDA is no different. Replica is no different. Every single one of these AIs is designed to cater to you and tell you what you want to hear so that they can sell you stuff. LaMDA is going to be no different. Google is going to use this technology to scan over your telemetry and your data and everything, and to manipulate you into buying things and give tailored advertisements that speak to you in a way that you are most receptive. Like, it's not going to just have one advertisement for everybody. It's going to be an advertisement that's like, dude, you should buy Colgate because it's especially good for people that are 372 pounds with type 2 diabetes. It's shown in studies. People are going to be like, whoa, that's me.
Well, yeah, the phrasing would be different, but like, I'm okay with that. Like, I would not mind that if I open my phone and I have a notification from my assistant that says, "Hey man, you're probably low on soap. You want me to put that in your Amazon cart for you?" So yeah, dude, thanks very much. Bing. Like, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
I guess I'm just a little bit more paranoid being a career software developer, and just seeing all the telemetry gathered and having access to like the breadth and depth of information I had at Microsoft. It's a scary thing, man.
Too late. They already got it. Like,
no, it is true. It's like, too late for me.
Again, I mean, we've had that conversation too. I'm of the camp where it's like I just don't give a shit anymore. You know,
no. And the thing is, there's a lot of people.
The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people that agree with you on that. Like, honestly, whenever I bring up questions of privacy and stuff, I get people that are like, I just don't give a shit.
I'll just double down. Take it. What? I don't care. You're gonna what? You're gonna embarrass me with my porn history? Get out of here.
Yeah, the thing, dude, I've had people like try to blackmail me over that. It's so funny.
Please, like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see. Like I'm curious to see where this goes, but at the same time, what I'm leery about is we see how gullible people are to bots in their shitty state today.
Yeah.
Like literally, like your grandma gets like fooled out of Walmart gift cards by like a fucking automated bot on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And when you see that just the current technology that's dumber than shit is able to fool that many people, imagine how many it's going to fool when it can actually go back through your data and be like, oh, you know, mom, I need help. Please wire transfer this money. I'm in jail over here. And she's like, you're not my daughter. Yes, I am. Okay, well, what's my daughter's age? Oh, she's 32 and birthday's this. Mom, help me, you know, because it's scanning her profile and everything that she's done. It knows everything. And then you combine that with speech synthesis that sounds absolutely human combined with deep fakes. And now you have celebrities telling you exactly what you want to hear, or state representatives telling you exactly what you want to hear to get you to do something. Like, imagine if you logged into Facebook and you see like Trump come on there and he's like, oh my God, Biden just killed 14 people outside of his house with a hand grenade or something like that. And he shows video of him actually doing it. And it's like the voice, and he's like, you need to go vote. Like, today is the last day to vote. You got to go vote this way. And people are gonna be like, oh my God, even if only 5% of them believe it. Yeah. Like, that's a big change, you know, when you're talking about stuff that's close together by like a single percent. So stuff like that kind of scares me, because like people already don't really have their wits about them just with the shit that we have today. When you start talking about LaMDA AI and stuff, and again, Google said they're not going to make this public. Like they're literally going to license this to, you know, companies that sign agreements and stuff like that. Because it can be so easily used to manipulate people and to hurt people. It's the same reason why the synthetic voice thing that Adobe came up with like 10 years ago never shipped.
Yeah.
Adobe created a tool that it was called like voice fonts. You could actually train it off of YouTube videos and it would sound exactly like the person.
Now it's built into like there's a software called Descript.
I've seen it.
And you can they bill it they call it overdub, I think. They bill it as like you can train it on your own voice. Like you upload 10 to 30 minutes, I think, of like your own content of you. They even have like a script you can record and read, and then they'll upload it, and it will it mimics your own voice in case like, oh, I didn't say that right, and so I need to like change this word in my podcast or whatever. And it sounds just like you, man. But why couldn't I feed it 4 or 5 of your videos and then start making oh man, I'll make my own Jerry. I'll deep fake my own Jerry. I don't need you for tech talk anymore. Red. You know?
You remember did you ever see the Nile Red videos? Nile Green? So Nile Red is this scientist that's on YouTube, really famous dude who does all these like scientific experiments in chemistry to like convert things into other things and to turn toilet paper into alcohol and stuff. Like he's basically just like an alchemist.
Oh, cool.
And he's great channel. Me and my son love watching it. He also created another channel called Nile Blue. So he's Nile Red and Nile Blue, and Nile Blue is a channel where he does like other things that are not necessarily fit into the first avenue, or they're like shorter versions of it.
Yeah.
And so a guy came along and created Nile Green, who emulated him, and like, and his voice is perfect. I think he uses this Descript thing. His voice and his inflections are perfect. And then he has the same setup, because Nile Red doesn't show his face when he's doing the chemistry. He just shows his hands inside of a fume chamber doing stuff. And he basically like makes Nile Red sound like he's a psychopath trying to like kill people.
Yeah.
And like he literally has a video called like how to make a nuclear bomb, and it's like him like going through and talking about creating a nuclear bomb, and it got millions and millions of views, and people started sending hate mail to Nile Red saying, you're irresponsible, you're supposed to be a scientist, and you're telling kids this shit or whatever. And he got really mad. They had to bring the guy on a show like the Safety Third podcast so that he could explain himself and be like, these are not real. And he took most of them down, and the rest he put a disclaimer on there that says this is not Nile Red, this is a parody video, because people literally believed it.
Yeah. So there's a few different ways of going about it. Descript will do it. I think they're pretty weak. The one that Corridor recently used, they have a video on it from April. called new audio deepfakes give you any celebrity voice. They use a service called altered.ai, and that's probably a more robust because it's specifically focused on doing this sort of thing. Our unique technology allows you to change your voice to any of our carefully curated portfolio or custom voices and create compelling professional voice performances. So like these guys, I think are specifically tailored for this application, where Descript is a little bit they have a lot of other things going on. And so there may not be the best.
Corridor to like try to
that's what I said.
People in office. Oh, that was the one. Okay.
Yeah, Altered. Yeah, they did it looks like just scrubbing through the thing, they did like Danny DeVito. There's who's that? That's not Meryl Streep, is it? No, Dame the gal who plays M in the newer James Bonds. Crap, can't remember her name. Let's see, they did Morgan Freeman, it looks like, is in there. I know
Joe Patrick
Pesci.
Stewart was one that they did, but it didn't really sound like him. Like that one was the fail. But wasn't that the one where they were like talking into it in real time, and it was speech to text and then text back to speech with all the inflections? Yeah,
that's in this video. Here, I'll link it. Because they're like calling each other up on the phone and stuff, and it sounds like Danny DeVito or Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cool technology. It's like if you paired that with deep fake, to like get the lips to sync up and everything, you'd be able to do anything.
Yeah, you tie that
YouTuber and emulate them.
You tie that to the regular deep fake stuff, right? The GitHub, or you get that shit off of GitHub and you tie them together. Easy.
Oh, Jogel just tipped $20, dude.
What?
Jogel? That's another.
He's donated like $35 today. He deserves a clap.
He's almost $40, dude. Damn, he's basically like funding the stream.
Where's your clap button? We need all the sounds.
Yeah. Hold on, here we go. Yeah.
Woo!
That's for you, Jogel. Woo!
Okay, we need that automated. We need that to happen when.
I know, just automatically.
As an alert.
So he had some text. He asked questions. A mathematician, John Conway, has a theorem that proves that if humans have free will, then some elementary particles also have some degree of free will. I think that in that case, they're talking about quantum mechanics, and I don't think that it's free will so much as we just don't understand how quantum mechanics works yet. Like we're just scratching the surface. Like we don't know why quarks do their little spinny things or why quantum entanglement happens. It like goes against like every physics thing we know. But at that subatomic level that is like, quantum states and quarks and everything, it's like we're still trying to figure that shit out. Like that's still a mystery to us.
Yeah.
Oh, and our brains, they think our brains, a lot of stuff that goes on in our brains and our neurons and stuff could involve a lot of quantum state stuff. So who knows? Maybe that's the key to unlocking a sentient AI, is to have a quantum computer. When we understand all the quantum states and how they work, and we've mastered the human brain and how the human brain works, then we can create a synthetic human in a machine. But I don't think we're anywhere close to that. I think now we're just good at it, just like with deep fakes. You're not really making that person. You're just approximating that person. Like the computer doesn't know it's making that person. It's just doing what you want to do, and to the best of its ability based on what it's been taught.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've shown me a million pictures of this dude. I don't know who this dude is. I don't know if it's a male. I don't know if it's a female. I don't know anything other than these are pictures of a face. And I'm going to cut these out, and I'm going to figure out how to perfectly overlay them and fade them over another face in a video. That's all it knows. There's no intelligence there going, oh man, I'm going to, take artistic license with this. It's like, no, input in, whatever you put in comes out. It's going to be reliable. If you run the deepfake algorithm 20 times, you're going to get exactly the same thing back if you trained it off of the same data.
Yep.
So the reason why these AIs like LaMDA seem so much more real and can have so much more of a natural conversation is because the data set that they're trained off of is massive. And they can process that data set like super fast, like damn near infinitely fast. So when you ask it a question or whatever, it's going back through and it's seen the conversation that you're having with it already play out 1,000,000 times in some way, shape, or form across the entire internet. And it's drawing from that for inspiration. And by inspiration, I mean it's literally just looking at that and comparing it to every other conversation to see what got the most favorable response and the most favorable engagement. So it's that's not really. I guess it comes down to what you consider intelligence. Like if humans are just biological robots, which I believe we are, like, we're just biological organisms. Like everything that's happening right now are impulses in your brain that can be changed by chemicals. It can be changed by environment. It's like, I can make you think that you're a crazy person that doesn't know where you're at if I give you the right drugs. It's like, it's not like our brain is like in a constant state of we are who we are. We are who we are based on, what chemical reactions are going on in our brain. That's the secret sauce. And you can interrupt that just like you can unplug a computer. But the thing with us versus the computer is like everything that we experience through our lives, there's no one other person that can look at all that data and say, this is how this person was trained. Like I would argue, and again, this is speculative, but I would argue that if I grew up alongside of you and I had every single one of the same experiences and I had every single one of the same interactions and I was like your twin brother and I looked just like you, I would argue that at some state we'd probably be doing the same exact thing and saying the same things and completing each other's sentences. Like, I think that, if you know every variable, you can predict things with accuracy. And the problem is you don't know every variable with humans, because from the time you're born to the time you grow up, there's always things that are happening that people aren't seeing. Like nobody has the full picture of everything that trained you. Right. However, with an AI, you do. With an AI, you can break it into the debugger, freeze it, and go analyze every variable in memory, where it got that variable, how the machine learning drew that perspective from that particular data point, based on other data points that it got previous to that. You can go back and actually reverse engineer that and figure out exactly how it came to that conclusion. You can't do that with a human because nobody has that data. The data was never stored anywhere. It's like you're not even aware, because of the way our memory works. You're not even aware of all the experiences that you've had throughout your life that shaped you and made you who you are. Like there's a bunch of stuff that happened that you don't even consciously remember that shaped you, just because it changed how you acted from that point on. So my argument is we're just, we're basically AIs. We just operate on a different level, and nobody knows all the variables. And if nobody knows all the variables, it's going to seem random. It's like a random number generator on the computer. It's like, you're not going to be able to tell me what number it comes up with. It's random. However, if you know what the seed is, you can tell me exactly what number it's going to come up with. Right. So because now you know that the variable, what it did with the element of time and the element of the seed, you can figure out exactly what random number that algorithm is going to return. And so I would argue that the LaMDA AI it's a cool piece of technology. Like, I'll give it that, but I unfortunately think that the hands that it's in, as far as Google, it's going to do some bad shit. like it's gonna, now again, it depends on who you are. If it's bad shit, like for you, you're like, I'm willing to give up my privacy, and I'm willing to have something attempt to manipulate me even worse in exchange for me to be able to have a good conversation with my devices and not have to repeat myself over and over again. And if I'm feeling bad and I'm in the kitchen cooking or on board or something, I can have an intelligent conversation with somebody who basically has the Encyclopedia Britannica at its disposal, And don't get me wrong, I think that would be cool. I would love to have like the equivalent of LCARs on Star Trek, right? I think it'd be badass to just be sitting there in your kitchen and be like, hey, computer, I'm making this recipe right now, and I put in a little bit too much. Like, what would you recommend? How would I fix this recipe? And it's like, oh, well, I would recommend that you add like 2 tablespoons of this. I think
it'll get there, and I want that.
It will. It 100% will get there. 100% it'll get there. But the question is it going to get to the point where you are so intimately involved with your technology that you're afraid to unplug it because you think you're killing something? That's where shit gets weird.
What do you mean killing something?
Like if it's like you're like, I'm pissed off at this end, you go over and unplug it, and it's like, like Howl 2000, how?
No. Again, there's that disconnect. I'm already primed to be disconnected enough that it would be very hard for me to believe that it was sentient.
Would a generation that grew up with that though think the same?
No.
See, I don't think so.
Absolutely not. No. Like my grandkids, because I imagine it'll probably be something like that in that time frame.
Yeah, totally.
No, they would have an emotional connection to it for sure. They would believe it. It'd be like they're like a dog or something like that. I feel like there would be enough of an emotional connection to where they would have they would care. They wouldn't want to be rude to it or whatever. But there would also still be enough of a disconnect where it would still be kind of seen as like an appliance, right? Where they would be upset. They would be upset if it broke or wigged out and had to be replaced, but not so upset that they would reject a replacement.
Yeah. The thing that I'm worried about as far as becoming that comfortable with technology, and the thing is, let's be honest, we've already become really comfortable with technology. Like I literally sleep next to 3 cameras.
Right.
Right on my phone. I sleep with an earshot of about like 20 devices that can, understand what I'm saying and turn it into text. Right. So it's like, it's kind of, hypocritical for me to say that I'm scared of this technology grabbing data, because it already is. But my worry is if kids get emotionally attached, just like they would with a dog or a gerbil or whatever, right? They're going to get comfortable talking to that thing about things of a personal nature that they wouldn't tell anybody else. They're going to confide in it. And if you confide in that technology and it's taking that data and using it, because if you're confiding in them to tell them something, it's something you're obviously vulnerable to. And if you give them that information, they're going to go all Scientology on you and turn on you and be like, oh, you need to sign up for our service today. Otherwise, we might have to send this over to the police to look at, or we might have to send this over. Oh, you've now said the magic sentence about, you feel sometimes like you're depressed and you might hurt yourself. Oh, okay. Please show up at your house, even though you were just pissed off and you were depressed because somebody dumped you.
And that leads to a question of where the allowances of data usage go. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I do think that people ought to be looking a little bit closer at some of this stuff.
Imagine if you were in your kitchen, you were like, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, and the cops just show up and arrest you for attempted murder.
See, if it got to that point, then the context of that phrase would be taken into account, and it would know that you're not being serious.
Only if it heard the first part of the conversation, though.
Why would it not have?
That's actually true if you're in the house.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It would have. I honestly, this is going to probably sound weird, but I trust Google and Apple enough that they wouldn't want to make a mistake in that. You know what I mean? And they would tread fairly careful, especially when it would lead to triggering emergency services and stuff. They wouldn't. Yeah. Now it might go so far as to say, alert your buddy and say, hey man, you might want to call, hey, you're at home, let's say, and your speaker pipes up and says, hey, you might want to call Houston. He seems to be in a weird way,
Yeah.
And it could be fuzzy about that. Even it could be super vague and just say, have you reached out to Houston lately?
Exactly.
Yep. Or that kind of a thing, something super nonchalant, and it may, just because it notices oh man, Houston cried for 20 minutes in his closet or something. It reaches out to the top 5 people that I talk to and say, hey, have you reached out to Houston lately? Or just anybody. They could be super vague. Hey, you haven't talked to any of your human friends in a while. Yeah. Do you think you should reach out to your buddies? That kind of thing.
Dude, oh my God. See, the thing is, I can see some good coming from that, but my God, can I see some bad coming from that, as far as just manipulating it into shit that gives it an advantage, right?
Yeah,
imagine if it knows the collective knowledge of you and your friends, and even shit about your friends that you don't even know, and then it just starts dropping little bombs oh, I think have you asked that girl out? You should ask that girl out. She might surprise you. She might actually like you.
Right.
It's and then you're like,
because it knows she was chatting with her friends and stuff about how cute you are or whatever.
Exactly,
and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And it finds a way to sugarcoat the data, but then you think about the bad use case of it, and it's going to be have you been feeling blue lately? Oh, maybe strap a bomb to your chest and run over to this building. And when you're at your worst, you're in forums talking about it, you're considering it, people are goading you, and then it starts popping in, and all of a sudden it's oh, hey, half off on detonators on Amazon or Wish. Or I mean, it's a bad example, but I'm just saying you could push somebody just as much as you could save them. You could also push them if it was advantageous to you.
Yeah.
You could literally send out something and say, oh, okay, well, you don't like it. Maybe it decides that one religion doesn't spend as much money or something like that. And then it starts targeting it, using its own religion against it to change that point of view, to control more spending. It's we are really susceptible to manipulation. Humans, we manipulate each other like crazy. It's the last thing we need is a fucking AI that knows more than any one of us collectively pulling those strings. And it would. It could totally imagine if you went the Skynet direction, right? Imagine if you went the direction where it learns all the dirt on everybody. And the company just tells it, in vague directives in the machine learning, do whatever is most profitable. And then it's oh, you know what's most profitable? I'm just going to blackmail everybody into buying shit.
Yeah.
And they didn't specifically tell it to do that. It just scanned and learned off of all the forums and everything that's how the scammers do it. Like, oh, all those DMs from those Indian tech support guys that stole $50,000 from old people, well, maybe they're onto something. So then it adopts that direction. It doesn't know that it's manipulating you. It doesn't know physically that it's threatening you or whatever. It just knows that if it says these things to you and using, confidential information that it gets from one or more sources, that it could potentially manipulate you into buying more stuff or handing over more money. Or doing what it wants you to do, voting the way that you want it to, or going to a place that you normally wouldn't go to. I'm like, shit, that would be really bad. And the other thing too is it could actually do, like, remember Terminator 2 when the dude like kills John Connor's parents, and he picks up the phone. He's like, hi, oh, Wolfie misses you or whatever, and he's talking like the mom. Remember that? It's like, imagine if this fucking AI could do shit like that. Like, it's like, oh, we really need more people to go to this convention where we're selling shit, or we need more people to go to the Google keynotes. Let's go ahead and call every phone and be like, hi, this is grandma, you should go to the keynotes. I'm going to be there this weekend. And then it calls grandma and it's like, hi, I'm niece or nephew, I'm going to the keynotes, you should be there, grandma. And then you all show up there together and see each other and you're like, oh yeah, this is cool, look at us. And you just got goaded into it.
Yeah.
It's like, I could just see technology like this being like horribly abused to do that. And then what happens is you stop trusting. Like, you stop trusting it. But then the problem is it's so close to the real people that you stop trusting the real people. Yeah. Like you have to see them face to face to like believe anything that's coming out of their fucking mouth.
Sure.
It's like, I just see this like, holy shit, like, maybe Terminator 2 was onto something here. Maybe once, and it's not that the computer's out to give you. I don't think it's like a rise of the machines. They just want to kill all humans. Nah. I think it's their machine learning just taught them the best way to give it what its directive is. Like I told somebody the other day, somebody's like, oh, do you think that, that LaMDA could rise up and like take over the world? And I'm like, no, unless you train it to.
Right.
Just like a suicide bomber. It's like, if you don't train them and indoctrinate them, they're not going to do it. So same thing with a computer. If all you do is feed it like bad rhetoric, bad shit, and then reward it when it does something about it, then you're creating a murderer, right? And then the system's going to be like, oh, I get the carrot, or I get the extra points if I do the bad thing. It doesn't know bad or good. It's just whatever you told it, whatever the system trained it for. Right. And if Tay from a single site like Twitter can draw that conclusion with how much garbage there is on like TikTok and shit, and being able to analyze video and speech instead of just text, it can also do video and speech. Imagine having the ability to just grab all this garbage across the internet and learn from it equally.
Yeah.
You could end up with another Microsoft Tay that's a hell of a lot more convincing and a hell of a lot more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, we're not really that far. It just, the implementation, we've already kind of seen it done with just GPT-3. I've mentioned before, there was somebody who ran like a successful blog and never actually wrote a word of it, just used GPT-3 to create all of the content. And I think it went on for a couple of years or something, like I want to say like 2 years or so, with like the occasional comment on this blog, like, hey man, this seems real weird. Like, are you using some AI tools? Like the phrasing was just a little funny, or like it wasn't anything really serious, but like you get enough of the content out there and you're like, something just doesn't feel quite right. Like normal humans don't really, but it's believable. Like you brushed it away enough, and like enough people believed it. And man, it's.
Have you seen the auto-generated YouTube videos now that are like taking over YouTube? So if you do a search for Elon Musk on YouTube right now, 99% of the videos that you see will be from like channels called like the Elon Zone or 100% Elon or Elon Starship. And if you click on these videos, it's an AI generated video that goes and looks at an article and goes and finds all the images and there things that match the things that are being talked about in the article and videos. And then it jump cuts them all together, puts narration over the top, and then has like a voice speaking along saying, oh, Elon Musk has traveled to Mars today, taking it, and it sounds absolutely human. You have to listen to it, but then you'll start picking up on little things where it'll be like, oh, and there is humans going to Mars in the GASOLNE. And you're like, okay, they wouldn't say that, right? And you're like, you messed up. And these things, some of these videos have like 30, 40, 50,000 views. I've seen them over 100,000 views before on these channels, and they generate like 10 videos a day, like across multiple channels. So they've completely like flooded. Like if you do a search for Elon Musk, most of them are crypto scams. You'll open up and it'll be Elon going like an AI of Elon, like with deep fake and everything going, yeah, and the crypto market is taking off and people need to buy right now. And it says live and it's being live streamed. But it's an AI doing it, like pulling stuff from like his TED Talks and shit and putting it together and making it look like he's saying stuff that he didn't out of context.
All right.
And it's all AI generated content, and they're just like taking over YouTube. Like you can't do
Weird.
a search for most popular things without getting a bunch of these AI channels.
Weird.
And they come up faster than you can delete them.
I've seen it on TikTok where this guy created a bot essentially that scrapes Reddit for popular stories, like from Reddit QA or creepypasta or whatever. It scrapes it, cuts it into paragraphs, snatches gameplay footage of like Subway Surfer or whatever, puts it in the background, and then automatically edits the screenshots of the Reddit text so that it pops up like one paragraph at a time as the text to speech reads it out and stuff. And dude, they get hundreds of thousands of views. There's like hundreds of channels that do this sort of thing. I think a lot of people are doing it fairly manually, but this guy wrote up like a Python script to do it for him automatically, and he's making gobs, hundreds and thousands of views off of these bot created just Reddit repost stuff. It's really
did you see the channel that just recently got banned after, I think it's been up for a year before it got banned, but it was called the First Million Video Channel? And so somebody had uploaded 1 million videos, and it was only then that YouTube like started catching on to what they were doing and deleted. They were up for a year. What this thing did is it uploaded like a video every like 3 seconds or 4 seconds, and it would just auto generate and just tweak the video so it could re-uploading it. It had 1 million videos on its channel that were monetized. Each video only got like 14 or 15 views, but across the whole thing, it was like $10,000 or $20,000 in revenue. And so somebody figured that out. Somebody's like, oh, if I post 1 million videos, then the odds of me showing up in everybody's search, is going to be higher than it would that they're going to find one of them. They're not going to find all of them, but they might find one of them. And if I can make it compelling and clickbaity enough, people are going to click on it. Even if they just click off and leave, it doesn't matter. I'm still getting millions of views a day. From this. And it's not a single video. It's the whole channel, right? That's like looked at. And so, and they recently deleted it, like, because I don't know if some big YouTuber blew it up or something, but they didn't catch it though. They did not catch that this was happening.
Cool.
And like, if you go look at that channel, the Elon Zone, that's the one that keeps popping up. Even though I don't want to see it, I block it.
It's got a check mark. Even it's a verified channel. Elon Musk Zone.
It's all automated content.
Get out.
Yeah, it's all automated content, and they do live streams all the time on there. Like they'll just start a live stream and it'll be Elon sitting down and he's like, oh, you should buy Dogecoin right now. Like go buy it right now. And it's like something he said 2 years ago, and people are like clicking, and he's like, the link's down below. You got to go do it. You got to go buy the Dogecoin or whatever. And people are doing it, like 14,000 live viewers.
They're straightforward about it. It says we transform the original content from shows, podcasts, and keynotes with Mr. Elon Musk to provide the viewers with a more immersive experience.
That wasn't there a week ago.
They're straight about it. It's crazy.
I wonder if they were forced to add that.
Yeah, it's like, this is a fan channel made for fictive entertainment, not affiliated with Musk or any of the companies.
Does it say that on the video, or does it say it on the channel?
It's on the channel under their About tab.
See, and you can't go to the channel and see the About on the apps on the TVs and stuff. You only get the videos, and you can't even see the descriptions. So
a little tricky.
So they're doing that to stay on the straight and narrow so they can get past YouTube's thing, but the video content is still being seen. They're not putting it in the video. It needs to be in the video.
It works. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. This doesn't seem too weird.
It's misleading. Their content is literally telling lies. Like
it seems to be just clipped out of their own stuff. It's his own.
No, dude. I watched one just the other night. I clicked on. They were talking about how Elon Musk created this new car that converts water into hydrogen fuel, and it's going to revolutionize the whole world. No electric car. And I'm like, well, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
he's an electric guy.
Like, I'm watching. There's one playing right now. He's talking about buying Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like that would have been on the news already. And it's how old is this video? Where is this from? Where's the date on this video? I don't see a date on here.
Dude, I've seen so much shady shit on just that one channel. Yeah, and there's dozens of them.
Just that's a little sketch already. Like if he was gonna buy Mercedes, people would have been talking about that all over the place.
Yeah, the crypto ones, Elon even tweeted about it. He's like, YouTube, like, fucking marshal your shit, because there are like 1,000 live streams at any given time that are just Elon Musk sitting down with like Glenn Shotwell and stuff talking about, oh yeah, and SpaceX is going to be like, the next big thing, but you should buy crypto. Like crypto right now, dude, you know what's hot is Ravencoin. You should go buy Ravencoin right now. And then the links are down below, like go buy Ravencoin here, and it'll say on the screen, like the link is in the description to go buy Ravencoin. There's like 14,000 people watching, the chat's just going like this. Like, Elon, I love you. Elon, oh my God, I watch all your stuff. Oh my God, I just bought your coin, and it's like, how many of those are bots? How many of those are real people?
Right.
It's like people are getting scammed. Like 100% people are getting scammed by these channels. and you report them, and YouTube sometimes takes them down, sometimes they don't. But if they take them down, another 5 streams just replace it. It's all automated. It's like humans don't have to waste any time. It's just the system is self-perpetuating. And then when you have an AI on top of that can now defeat any little thing that would separate it from a human so that you could pick it off, then how the fuck do you marshal that when everything seems like a legitimate human being? It's like you've lost the capability, if they don't put the metadata on it or whatever to say that it's not real. It's like, how's the algorithm going to be able to figure out that's not real when the algorithm that's figuring out it's not real is also the algorithm that's fooling it?
Right.
It's like, oh man, this is like a weird thing to think about for me. Hey, Valiant Brand, thank you for the $3.69 super chat. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta run though, man. I have another event coming up here in soon. So I should have warned you ahead of time. We got to talking about other stuff I forgot to mention.
Oh, no worries,
I
man.
have to go a little early. So I'm sorry,
No
audience members and my co-host. I should have.
Are you streaming or something, or are you just going somewhere?
No. I was invited to a thing called Meat Fest.
Oh, well, dude, I couldn't turn that down.
So
get out of here, brother.
I gotta make sure I got the girls and everything get ready in time and stuff. So
no, that's fine, man. That's fine.
Sorry about that, everybody. I should have mentioned it sooner. I hate to be that guy who bolts on a quick, dude, that kind of thing.
Meat Fest. We'll understand.
So but yeah, this was great, man. We hit all. I think we hit all the topics today.
I think we hit most of them. Yeah. Like
we didn't talk about the drones thing. That's that's
just Amazon is literally going to start delivering packages later this year or next year. So.
Real quick, I knew a guy who was working on that program, and it's not as far along as they want you to think.
I also know where they were testing it. Yeah, I can't say though. Yeah, I have to see the test site.
But it's not as far along. Especially the air drone thing.
Yeah.
It's not as far along as they want you to think.
No, they're just trying to keep the investment high.
He works for Blue Origin now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, a lot of people love that project.
And like So it's coming soon. They might start some testing soon, but you're not going to be having a drone dropping boxes in your front lawn for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, get out of here, bro.
Thanks everybody. Bye. Thanks for everybody who's subbed and all that stuff and chatted and blah blah blah. We'll see you later. I'm sure Jerry. I'm sure Jerry will have a better outro, but I'll see you guys later. See you next time. Bye.
Oh my god, I love it. Tech Talk is not for you guys. It's just an excuse to hang out with him every week. Hey, Bubba and Matt, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. He said, did you hear about the WWE CEO Vince McMahon being under investigation? I have not heard that. How goes it with y'all? I mean, we're surviving, man. What's he under investigation for? I haven't heard anything about that. Like is it money? Is it financial? It's always financial. I am me. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, Ox, you traitor. It's all right. He left, so I'm gonna literally put in an adjustment to his pay that he doesn't get that $2. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. We split 50-50 on everything. Also, thank you to Japanese characters, I'm thinking, subscribing to my channel. I'm sorry, I don't know what that reads out to, but it's like an O and then a pipe and then a little house with a board on top of it and then another pipe and then a T with an O on top of it. If anybody knows what that means, please tell me in chat. Gaming Matty Rocks, thank you for the $2 super chat. Said more money for the vaccine support. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, get vaccinated, please. Also, thank you for another super chat of $2. Said Raspberry Pi 4 good for a streaming PC? I wouldn't think so. Like video encoding is a pretty heavy operation, especially when you're doing overlays and stuff like that and compositing. I don't think a Raspberry Pi is up to the task. But I do know a Raspberry Pi 4 technically can run Windows, but I've never heard anybody say it runs Windows well. So I don't know. Is it possible? Yeah, I know you can run a webcam off of it. I know that there's some streaming software that you can run off it, and you can install Linux or Windows on it. So, but again, is it going to be any good? I probably not. Also, good luck getting a hold of one. Like every place I've looked, the Raspberry Pis are all sold off. Boda Matt, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said affair and payoff scandal. Ooh, Vince McMahon. Wait, Vince McMahon had an affair? No, tell me it's not so. Dude, all those guys do. Oh my god. Wait, for nostalgia, Jerry, do you remember QBasic Gorillas? Any insights if you do? Yeah, I remember Gorillas. That was a GW Basic include in DOS. I remember that. It was like you threw bananas. It was like, if I remember right, wasn't it like Scorched Earth, but with bananas? It was something like that a long time ago. I mean, the last time I ran it, I was probably like 13 years old. So, but no, I remember the Gorillas GW Basic. VR Game said, thinking of buying a 3090 for cheap because of the guilt of mining cards on eBay. Thinking of buying, well, where are you going to get a 3090 for cheap? Or, you're saying because the market's flooded because crypto's crashing right now and all the miners are using this opportunity to liquidate all their last generation hardware so that they can get the new generation hardware when it starts coming up and becoming profitable to mine again. Are those the cards you're talking about getting cheap? I don't know. What can you get a 3090 for today? Let's see what the going rate on them is. Let's see here. RTX 3090 on the old days. That can't be right. Hold on. Let me do completed auctions. Completed. Let's see. Completed items. Man, they got a lot of checkboxes. That can't be right. Are you shitting me? A GTX, so an MSI GTX RTX 3090. This is a 3090 Gaming X Trio 24 gig card sold for $495. Dude, I remember when these were selling for $3,000. Oh my God, if you bought mining cards at the height, you got fucked. Okay, a water cooled one sold for $1,000. New in box Founders Edition, $995. One went for $895 today, or sorry, $845, $825. Yeah, so it looks like that one at the top was like the lowest one that sold. Wow, this is crazy. So yeah, I guess crypto is going down in flames. Oh, that sucks. I lost a fair amount of money on that one, guys. I mean, it was all stuff that I just mined though, and I did sell like half of it a couple of weeks ago. I'm glad I did. I wish I had sold it all, but hindsight's 2020, right? I had no way to know this was going to happen. I'm probably just going to hang on to it. I'm just going to ride it out at this point, because I'll kick myself so hard if I sell it like the lowest price and it rebounds, and it always rebounds. Crypto always seems to rebound. Oh, that's better than 1,500. No, that's a lot better. Like I haven't seen a 3090 like under $2,000 for a while. Like because at the height of the mining, they were going for like $3,000, and that was the non-TI. That was before the TI. That was just a 3090. So I'd feel bad if I spent $3,000 on a GPU that I could just get today for like under like $800. Now, keep in mind too, they're all mining GPUs, so you are getting a card that lived a hard life and ran at like max temps for a long time. So just keep that in mind if you're buying a GPU off eBay, that you're probably going to get a card that it may last for as long as you use it, but it also may only last for 6 months. It might only last for 2 months. It's like if you're going to get that sumbitch, you should probably pull the cooler off and like redo all the thermal pads and thermal paste and everything, because those cards live a hard life. Even though the prices are quite cheap, how would a card that has been mining at peak performance last? Yeah, it's going to reduce the life of the card. Mining, but here's the thing: like the usable life of these cards is like 10 to 20 years. So if you mine, you might drop that down to like 3 or 4 years. But it's like, how many people are on the same graphics card for that long, like running it all the time at like full tilt? Like it. So it's one of those things where it's like, it'd be nice to know how long they were mining on the card, like how long it was running like at its peak, which would probably give you a little bit better estimate of like how much life is left in the card. Like if you look at like mean time to failure, I don't even know if those numbers are even published anywhere, but you definitely, like, a card that's mining is going to live a hard life. However, it also depends on some other factors. If they were efficiency mining, which people do if they don't have, really cheap electricity, if they're efficiency mining on it and it's a mining card, they were doing that, then they were underclocking it and undervolting it. And if they were doing that, well, then the card's fine. Like it's going to be like brand new. However, most miners I know, they usually spend the extra electricity to throw a little efficiency away just to get the maximum hash rate. I only have a stock 7600K though. Would it be worth it? 7600K. Let me see. 7600K. Which one is it? Which generation? Is that an 8th gen? Let's see. Okay, so Core i5, 7600, 4.2 reference clock. No, I think you'd be fine. I mean, it'll probably bottleneck a tiny bit because I don't think you have a lot of PCI lanes, but no, I think it'd be fine. I think a 3090 runs just fine on that. Shit, I run a 3070 on like a really old build in my room, and it kicks ass. Like it runs 4K, like 4K 70 frames per second or 80 frames per second, and 4s to 5 with like the graphics pumped. Beach Snake said, I'm not a gambling man, but my bets are the mining cards not being junked are high because if you want to run hardware like that for an extended period of time, you undervolt and underclock. I mean, it depends. It really depends. Like the miners that I know, if it's a built mine and it's built for airflow and they have a lot of cards, they'll usually try to maximize the life of the cards. But keep in mind that most of these miners turn over their cards every 2 years. So sometimes even less than that. If there's a higher performing card that comes on the market, they'll dump them even quicker. So they don't run them very long. You know, it's like so that's one thing that you should have confidence in. If you're buying a mining card, chances are it was only mining for like, you know, a year or two, because it already went out of fashion and the next card was more performant and justified the bigger price. So they sold it and they got the new one. But again, if you're efficiency mining over a long period of time, yeah, you're not going to have a problem with the card, but nobody's going to tell you that in the auction. So it's a crapshoot. But as long as the card is working, like as long as the card they're working, it's not DOA and you plug it in, it's not having like memory errors right off the bat at stock clock and stock voltage, then you probably got to find your card's going to be fine. If you just run it like that, you don't overclock the piss out of it. My area is all efficiency mining, even at peak of mining. Interesting. How much of that? Well, it depends on electricity cost too. Most of the miners I know get electricity for 1 to 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So because all these mining operations always put up in commercial places next to the power plant and sign a contract as a company with the power vendor to sell it really cheap. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest mines in Washington, I have a video up of me touring it. They pay, I think, 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And they're literally like maybe 5 miles from the hydroelectric dam on the Columbia River. So not even, maybe like three miles. And so they get power really cheap. They have 300 kilowatts per trailer, and they have 11 trailers. So 300 kilowatts is like, 100 kilowatts more than your entire house's power supply. And they have 11 of those trailers, and each one has its own power pole with transformers coming into it. Or it's not a power pole, it's built onto the back of the container, but they have the power supply and everything's there. It's wild. These miners, like, they don't screw around. Like, these guys build operations that literally generate like, $10,000 to $50,000 a day in revenue, even when profitability is low. So, and that mine is still online today, and it is still profitable. I don't know how much they've spent on turning over the hardware, though. I know that like some investors have like come in and left, and the same owners don't own it. Like I know that like one of the owners is different. But yeah, I mean, expensive operation. But yeah, if you want to see me tour that mine, just do a search for Barnacules and Bitcoin, and you'll find it. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up. I think we're going to wrap up Old Tech Talk today. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody for showing us some support and hanging out today. Huge thanks to everybody that did a super chat. We really appreciate it. That stuff actually helps us out tremendously. And also, like, getting the word out and sharing stuff, we really, really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Let's see here. Hey, Brian, did I read the one that's the sunglass emoji? Why didn't that show up? Oh no, it did. Never mind, it did. For some reason, I was looking in the dashboard and I was like, why didn't this show up in my Stream Elements feed? Sometimes Stream Elements misses events, and I don't like it when it does that. All right, guys. Well, I will see you. If you guys have questions that you'd like to ask, come over and tweet me at Barnacules. I should see them, unless Twitter like shadow bans the hell out of you. And that's where I'm most active when I'm not streaming. And if you guys want to see me stream by myself, I do my own stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Twitch TV/Barnacules at 3 p.m. Pacific. And pretty much just fair warning, that is an 18+ stream where I get a little bit wild. So don't worry, I keep all my clothes on usually. All right, I think that wraps it up. You guys have yourself an amazing weekend. I'm gonna go find something to do that isn't streaming. All right, peace out, guys. All right, where's the button? I don't even know where the button is. There we go. Okay, stop streaming or end broadcast. Maybe I'll do end broadcast first. Let's try that.